The story begins 12 years ago, since the appearance of mysterious gates all over the world. Modern society has transformed into a fantastical world. These mysterious gates lead to dungeons, the kind you'd typically see in games, and people awakened with special abilities began to be born. The public went wild over the appearance of these heroes, and the influence of these heroes grew stronger and stronger. However, there were those who abused their powers everywhere. A way to measure a person's abilities emerged, but then some ignorant people interpreted this in their own way. They considered level to be everything in the world, a place where you could receive protection from oppression. Was the Korea Association of Awakened Management. Although a state-affiliated organization, it was independent and not connected to any government agency. And from the registration of newly awakened individuals to the punishment of awakened individuals who commit crimes, this was the place that handled countless issues related to the awakened. On the day my fate was overturned, I was dispatched to a gate as an employee of the association. At this moment, someone's voice rang out. Yes, please take care of the surrounding area. Tae-suk held his phone, speaking loudly to the woman beside him. And let me know when you're done measuring. Hunter Yoon Seora. Seora replied with a smile. Understood. She thought to herself, today, I just need to measure the gate's level and request assistance from a cooperating guild for the raid, right? The man continued. Serene Guild said they'll send additional personnel soon. Seora cheerfully replied, yes. She thought excitedly, this is really exciting, isn't it? Seora clenched her fists, laughing with joy every time she thought about her schedule for the day. I'll just focus on my work so I can finish quickly and then go home immediately. Go home early? Right, on my way home today. Should I watch a movie I've never seen before? Suddenly, a furious shout rang out, stopping her in her tracks. Shocked? You haven't finished measuring yet, have you? If you're useless, hurry up. Seora thought wearily. There's no way the world will let me get off work on time. Jin Ah-young angrily mocked her. No matter what, you're just wasting taxpayer money, aren't you? He even sneered and said contemptuously to Seora, that's why an F rank is just an F rank. The association is ridiculous, isn't it? How can they hire an F rank to be a liaison with the guilds? He was Park Jin-young, an A rank, the raid team leader of Serene Guild. Seora didn't bother responding to him. She just glanced at him coldly and thought, I can't believe the hunter helping us today is that annoying Park Jin-young. She cursed him inwardly, wondering if it was something to be proud of, being an A-rank hunter from Serene Guild, one of the top 5 guilds in the nation. As she thought, Jin Ah-young continued to provoke her, shrugging with a sneer, pathetic. Seora hated to admit it, but he was notoriously arrogant and troublesome. Now, Jin Ah-young poked Seora's head and ordered, move it. How are you going to make up for the time I wasted waiting for you? Hurry up. Seora didn't react, only bowing her head and thinking, does he think civil servants are his little errand boys? Her eyes filled with coldness as she reminded herself, I'll be the only one exhausted even if I get mad, so I have to endure it. I have to endure it. But today she couldn't. Seora swatted Jin Ah-young's hand away and shouted angrily, Hunter Park Jin-young. Her demeanor suddenly changed. Seora teared up, covering her mouth as she asked the man in front of her, did I do something wrong? I was just curious why you're treating me like this. By any chance, are you scared of actually going into the dungeon? You should have said so from the beginning. Should I relay that to your guild? It would be quite difficult for you to say it yourself. Hearing the thinly veiled threat, Jin Ah-young gritted his teeth in anger. His face darkened as he said coldly, I was being nice to you. Jin Ah-young suddenly reached out toward Seora. Surprised by his action, she yelled, Her eyes widened in fear as she cursed inwardly. That dog. Is he crazy? After entering, she continued to think, what the hell is this? A gate? Seriously? Unbelievable. She approached the gate, fear creeping and no matter how crazy that bastard is, he can't just throw me into a dungeon. Just then, a system notification appeared. Rank 3 dungeon. Awakened, Yoon Seora has entered. Werewolf habitat. Reading the notification, Seora immediately yelled, you lunatic. How could you throw someone into a dungeon? Then, lowering her voice, she muttered to herself, no, calm down. I can get out of here right now. Seora knew the gate wouldn't disappear until the boss inside was defeated. Since I can't even kill a monster, I can get out without any obstacles. She reached out towards the gate. That bastard, Park Jin-young, I won't let you get away with this. Upon touching the gate, it felt like a wall was blocking her. Surprised, she exclaimed, What? A red alert flashed repeatedly. Seora said in disbelief, the gate is locked. Panicked, she thought, what the hell? Why? I can't even kill a single monster, let alone the boss. I've never heard of this happening before. Maybe there's another way out. Thinking so, she began to look around. Moments later, in the deep, dark tunnel lit by numerous torches, Siora walked while looking around, thinking, no way. No matter how much I search, I can't find any way out. Fearfully, she speculated, don't tell me I'm actually stuck here. Really? Suddenly, a strange noise echoed, causing Siora to tremble in fear. A monstrous figure with glowing red eyes appeared behind her. Siora froze, gasping, oh, I can't believe it. Even a normal wolf would be too much for me. But behind the giant wolf was an entire pack, snarling at her. The appearance of the werewolf was unbelievable enough, but now even the boss, the werewolf lord, stood before her. Siora wondered, can I even get out of this alive? She was sprinting through the dungeon, so fast that she lost a shoe. Looking utterly disheveled, with a wound on her arm, she clung to the wall, gasping for breath. Huff, huff. She gritted her teeth, thinking angrily, I was lucky to escape, but how much longer can I last? Looking at the path ahead, she felt a surge of confusion. Why hasn't help arrived? The more she thought, the angrier she became. That damn Jin Aiyong, she cursed. Because of Park Jin-young, that bastard. What is all this nonsense? She clenched her fists, regretting arguing with him. Suddenly, a strange noise echoed from behind her. Siora paled, covering her mouth as she cautiously looked back. Had they caught up to me? Probably not, she thought, clutching her injured arm and forcing a smile. But what does it matter now? I'm out of mana, so I'm probably done for. Siora gritted her teeth, unwilling to accept her fate. I didn't struggle this hard to survive, just to become wolf food, she thought resolutely. Limping forward, she reached a wall and slumped down, but, overwhelmed with frustration, she cried out, why do I have to go through this? Immediately, a system notification window appeared, responding to the voice of the awakened Yoon Siora. What? She exclaimed in surprise. Seeing the changed content on the system window, her surprise deepened. What the hell? The system displayed. System has been fully activated. Confused, Siora muttered, system notification window. She carefully read the displayed message. You cannot use anything outside of your inventory while inside the dungeon. Oh, she exclaimed after reading, realizing something, that if this is really a system notification window, then I can access the community forum. The system then prompted, community page operated by the system. Do you want to access the community forum? Siora recalled that the association monitored this forum 24/7 to gather gate formation information. The forum displayed various search suggestions. This picture is a monster, right? Looking for a healer to clear a dungeon with. Does anyone know the requirements to join the Serene Guild? XX Guild exposed their scam and run. She reasoned, if I post an SOS here, it'll reach the association. Suddenly, Siora's eyes widened up. Seeing the system notification, she was overjoyed. I can access it. Hope surged through her. I'm finally safe, she thought. Only the director needs to know I'm in the dungeon. Having thought that, Siora pressed the post button. She thought happily, if the director gets here, I can survive and escape from here. Just then, a strange sound rang out, making Siora immediately become alert. She looked outside the wall and wondered what was that sound. But when she saw that the surroundings were completely empty, Siora became even more suspicious. There's nothing there, is there? At that moment, a giant foot with the sharp claws of a werewolf appeared in front of her. Its eyes flashed, its tongue stuck out, and importantly, it was very close to Siora. The werewolf raised its claws as if it was about to grab her. Siora trembled in fear, thinking, it's too close, I can hardly run. I'm done for. She turned to the system, trembling. System window, if you're gonna crash, it would be great if you'd respond quickly. Siora lowered her head and said in despair, don't give me false hope. At this moment, the werewolf began to charge and attack. Siora screamed and hurriedly ran away, but halfway through her run, she fell straight to the ground, oof. Siora gritted her teeth, thinking resentfully, this is so unfair. She clenched her fists, looked up, weakened by being classified as F rank for no reason. If I'm gonna die, why are you making me die so miserably? Why? At this point, she had successfully grabbed a stone. The werewolf was also getting closer step by step. Its giant feet slowly approached, making Siora extremely desperate. Holding the stone in her hand, she shouted angrily, as if she had been tortured with false hopes for no reason. System, you're the worst. Siora sat on the ground. The giant werewolf werewolf in front of her, seemingly ready to face death at any moment. She gripped the stone and called out, "System." Finally, Siora resolutely threw the stone at the werewolf and yelled, "You damn bastard." With Siora's strength, the stone flew straight ahead. Suddenly, an extremely bright light appeared. The system window popped up with a notification. The system administrator has intervened in the dungeon. Siora stared in astonishment at the scene before her. The system announced, activating the defense shield. The administrator's protective shield has been temporarily activated in the third-level dungeon, the werewolf's habitat. Siora stammered. While what? Seeing the werewolf frantically attacking the protective shield, she still found it hard to believe. Is this real? The system administrator will personally appear outside the gate. A worried voice rang out, "Well, what should we do?" Tisiak looked at the gate in astonishment and said, "It's locked." Impossible. At that moment, a car suddenly sped towards them. The car drove right through the warning ropes hanging outside. At the sudden appearance of the car, Tisiak exclaimed, "This area is currently under government control. No vehicles are allowed to pass. Please move to another area as soon as possible." Suddenly, his face flushed red, his eyes widened, and his jaw dropped in astonishment. A muscular man emerged. It was Junayang, the HR director of the Korean Awakened Management Association. Tisiak excitedly called out, "Director Junayang." Junayang approached the gate and asked the person beside him, "Is Hunter Yoon Seora inside the dungeon?" Tisiak immediately replied, "Yes. The problem is that the gate won't open, sir. She can't defeat the boss monster." "How could this happen?" Junayang coldly stated the next plan of action. "First, since time is precious, we'll start by opening the gate." Tisiak exclaimed in surprise, "What?" He looked at the item in the director's hand and stammered in thought. That's... A system notification appeared. Gate stone, a very rare stone with a low probability of being obtained inside a dungeon. Tisiak was moved to tears. He thought to himself, to use such an expensive item for this, I will follow you for the rest of my life. Junayang ordered him, since we're still unsure, please contact the medical staff, department head Young Tisiak. Junayang held up the gate stone and declared, I will open the gate. On the surface of the gate stone, many cracks began to appear. Then, it crumbled in Junayang's hand. The system immediately displayed a notification. Warning, unable to use gate stone. Tisiak exclaimed in disbelief, no, it can't be. The system explained, the dungeon's rank is too high. The current rank of the dungeon, werewolf habitat, is... Junayang was in disbelief. He wondered, is it rank X? Faced with the dungeon's abnormality, Junayang was extremely perplexed. It's only used when the rank is absurdly high, but a small werewolf dungeon is rank X? He gritted his teeth and exclaimed, wait. What about Hunter Yoon Seora, who's trapped inside? Suddenly, another voice cut through his thoughts. Oh, are you the one in charge? Junayang smirked and said arrogantly, well, I'm sorry. Tisiak approached and whispered into Junayang's ear. He's Hunter Park Jinang, the raid team leader sent by Serene. He argued with Hunter Yoon Seora and pushed her into the dungeon. Jinang overheard Tisiak's words. He showed no remorse and laughed boisterously. Oh, come on. I didn't do it on purpose. Tisiak was also angered by his attitude. He asserted, you pushed her on purpose. Jinang feigned kindness, saying, I just wanted to remind her about the dangers related to dungeons and the hard work of high-ranking hunters like me, and it slipped. He didn't even bother to hide his disdain that it's a good thing she's only an F-rank hunter. She wouldn't have been much help anyway. She's useless, after all. Junayang was furious upon hearing this. Junayang stubbornly continued, so, think positive. But before he could finish his sentence, Junayang suddenly grabbed him by the throat. He said coldly, by law, intentionally pushing someone into a dungeon is prohibited. Junayang, using only one hand, easily lifted Junayang off the ground. He continued coldly, there's no way the Serene Guild's raid captain doesn't know that. Junayang cried out in pain, ugh. Junayang reminded him, if that was your intention, then that's obstruction of duty and attempted murder. Because he was being choked, Junayang could only make a few unintelligible sounds, ack. Then, Junayang ordered his subordinate, department head Tisiak, record this incident. Tisiak called out, yes, sir. Junayang gritted his teeth in anger and raised his fist. Park Junayang, raid captain of the Serene Guild, under my authority, will be punished. Inside the dungeon, the protective shield was still protecting Seora. A notification window appeared before her. The administrator's protective shield temporarily activated in rank C dungeon, werewolf habitat. She asked, confused, system administrator? What's that? Basic knowledge. The system can only be used by awakened. Some speculate that someone manages the aforementioned system like a game. However, unlike entities, no one knows for sure if such a person exists, as they have never revealed themselves. Siora wondered, does such a person really exist? Right, if they're the administrator, then I'm sure they can help me get out of here. Suddenly, her face showed surprise. The system notified her, checking information on Yoon Siora, the awakened who uttered insulting remarks towards the system administrator. Siora stammered as suddenly another notification quickly appeared. Special note, the foul-mouthed individual even cursed their benefactor. Siora exclaimed in confusion. She thought to herself, it seems like their mood isn't very good. Then, Siora bowed her head and said sincerely to the system, I apologize for cursing you. I must have lost my mind. But when the content on the system window didn't change, Siora became even more worried that what do I do? She closed her eyes and shouted again, I was wrong, administrator. In my desperation to survive, A tear flowed from the corner of her eye. Siora continued with utmost sincerity, and thank you so much for saving me. The content on the notification board changed. Comprehensive evaluation, magic power, F rank, mana sensitivity, F rank, combat ability, A rank, title grant. Impossible, entity contract, unavailable, awakening limit, F rank. Siora said helplessly, are you making fun of me? She sighed tiredly, that's right, I'm weak, so I'm always the target of gossip. Siora clenched her fists in frustration, and now I've fallen into this place, but no matter what, I still want to live. She gave a bright smile. Siora's thoughts were incredibly positive. They say it's better to live like a coward than to die. The system seemed taken aback by her. The notification window began to change. It glowed, and another message suddenly appeared. The system administrator's laughter echoes throughout the system. Siora peeked at the scene before her. A series of notifications continuously appeared. The Earth system administrator joyfully prepares for the first contract. Signee, awakened, Yoon Siora, no contracts made. Confirming contract feasibility. Siora, surprised, stammers. A contract? Administrator with me? The system explains to her. System Administrator Contract. The Earth System Administrator wants to make a contract with Yoon Siora. 1. Upon accepting the contract, the signee's abilities will increase partially. 2. The Administrator will be unable to kill the signee. 3. The Administrator will protect the signee. Do you wish to sign a contract? Yes or no? Faced with this unexpected news, Siora still finds it hard to believe. Someone like me, who can't even attract the attention of entities, gets to sign a contract with the System Administrator? She notices a particular clause within it. 2. The administrator will be unable to kill the signee. Siora thinks to herself, if both sides truly abide by these terms, then the administrator will have no choice but to ensure I don't die here. Whether the administrator personally protects me or my stats increase enough for me to survive on my own, I can still get out of here alive. Siora stands up, determined to move forward. This is my chance. She calls out, I'll proceed. Contract. The system currently displays the question. Do you wish to sign a contract? Yes or no? Siora doesn't hesitate to select the yes button on the system window. Immediately afterward, a series of notifications appear simultaneously. The Earth's system administrator and the awakened, Yoon Siora, have signed a contract. The awakened, Yoon Siora, has become the sole signee with the system administrator. You have achieved the first milestone on Earth. Siora is utterly astonished. Increased stats? She starts to feel anxious. I don't want to be too strong, because then I'll become the center of attention again. This much is enough for me to protect myself. I know full well that the stronger I am, the more responsibilities will be placed on my shoulders. I don't want to sacrifice myself like that. Yet, the system still tells her, your stats have increased significantly. Overall evaluation has been adjusted. After reading this, Siora exclaims in confusion. The system displays. Awakened information. Name, Yoon Siora. Rank, S. Siora cries out in disbelief. What? Awakened information. Name, Yoon Siora. Rank S. She asks herself, Imishrank, Saintus? The stars in the sky are called lords. The extraordinary abilities of the awakened come from the gods they contract with. The Saintus sacrament bestows power through contracts. The contracting parties have just made themselves known to the world while also enhancing the reputation of the Saintus sacrament. It's a give-and-take relationship. Recalling the notification. Do you wish to make a contract? That is, Siora thinks in disbelief. But someone who doesn't even care about ordinary Saintuses like me, I ended up signing a contract with the system administrator. At the same time, I never even dreamed of rising from F rank to S rank. Screen update. Evaluation dummy. Power. Rank S. Mana sensitivity. Rank SS. Combat power. Rank S. Title. Complete. Saintess Sacrament. None. Awakening limit. None. Awakened information. Name. Ayansura. Rank S. Type. System Administrator Assistant. Rank X. Sniper. Rank S. Attribute. Unique ability. Saintess Sacrament. None. Special note. Sole signee of the Planet Management. Earth. Saintess Sacrament. None. Awakening limit. None. Siora read the information on the screen and wondered, what? No awakening limit. She suddenly recalled the past. I insulted the administrator, but then I got promoted to S rank. Siora felt bewildered. What is this? I never asked for something this big, so she asked, Administrator, would you like to listen to my story? Siora spoke cautiously. Thank you for looking at me favorably, but this is a bit too much. Suddenly, a notification appeared. The system administrator has given the first gift to the sole signee. A gun was placed in the inventory. After seeing the notification, Siora recoiled in surprise. What? Another gift? Looking at the gift, Siora thought, an S-rank gun, even though it's a bit complicated. After a few minutes passed, she resolutely pressed the accept button. But since it's already happened, I might as well try it out. As soon as Siora's hand touched it, the system acknowledged her decision. In an instant, a gun was placed in her hand. Siora touched the gun and exclaimed, Whoa, I've never touched a real weapon, and now I've received this. Although I've developed the traits of sharpshooter, Siora recalled someone saying, no handheld gun can be used with Siora's magic power. At that time, she could only accept it. Ah yes, she thought. Because of the limitations of F rank, I didn't even have a chance to get a real weapon. The memories of the past were still etched in her mind, and now, holding the gun in her hand, Siora felt fortunate. But having a weapon like this, maybe this is fate. Siora loved it so much she couldn't bear to let go. Oh, this is so cool. After a moment of delight, she came to her senses. Siora looked at the monster in front of her with worry. Now's not the time. Suddenly, a notification appeared on the screen. The administrator has canceled the shield. Siora was surprised to see the message. What? At the same time, the shield protecting her slowly disappeared. Siora backed away and unconsciously exclaimed, Administrator, why the shield? Before she could finish speaking, the monster roared loudly. Siora felt that the roar, though loud, wasn't as powerful as before. She thought in surprise, what? The one who just attacked me like it was hunting prey. Looking at the beast that was still roaring but seemed more hesitant, she suddenly had a guess. Does it look like I'm scary because I've become S rank? Seeing that the tables had turned, Siora confidently gripped the gun in her hand. Let's see. The administrator has paved the way for me to use my power. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. I've only just become S rank. I don't know if I can do it or not. After gathering enough courage, she didn't hesitate to open her eyes and look directly at the monster facing her. It would be terrible to die here. Siora knelt on one knee to steady her aim as she thought, if I can survive this safely. As soon as Siora took aim, a notification popped up. Title, Battlefield Observation Sniper, activated. Automatically learn how to use all handheld firearms. The screen continued to display messages as she prepared to pull the trigger. The required strength for all firearms has been automatically set to a very small amount. And then the bullet was fired. Through Siora's eyes, she could see the destructive power of the bullet was extremely strong. The bullet sped like lightning, piercing straight through the monster's flesh. A large hole was now torn through the monster's chest, causing it to shriek in agony. With just one shot, the monster was taken down. Watching it collapse lifelessly, Siora couldn't believe her eyes. Amazing. Is this the power of S rank? Then, she looked at the gun admiringly. Of course, this S-rank gun is awesome too. How can a single shot be so powerful? A few seconds later, the screen displayed another message. Weapon information, name, hit, rank, S, type, handgun, unique feature. Can change shape according to the owner's will. Limited to firearms only. Special note, this gun is blessed by the system administrator, increasing accuracy and destructive power by 200%. Siora read it and exclaimed, what? This is an S-rank weapon? You're really giving this to me? Siora looked at the gun, lost in thought. Unsure what she was thinking, she called out, pistol. In the blink of an eye, the sniper rifle transformed into a handy pistol. Siora held the pistol, feeling amazed. It's real. Still in disbelief, she looked up at the air and asked, Administrator, is it really okay to give me this? As soon as she finished speaking, a faint swirl appeared before her eyes. Following that, a screen appeared with a happy emoticon, as if agreeing to give her the gun. Seora exclaimed in surprise, "What?" She pointed at the screen suspiciously. "No way. Are you really the administrator?" The screen continued to display the happy emoticon. Seora watched as the screen, without any words, changed to a different emoticon, curious to, why does it look like this? Whatever. You can only communicate like this, right? She thought to herself. Among the awakened, I've never seen anyone communicate with the Holy Sacrament using emoticons like this. Watching the screen change to a sad face, Seora thought, right? I thought of the system administrator as something powerful and divine, not emoticons like this. The screen changed to an affectionate emoticon. Seeing this, Seora said, "Anyway, thank you for granting me these gifts and abilities." She looked at the monster sprawled on the ground and asked, "By the way, now that we've defeated the werewolf, the gate will open, right?" Seora smiled at the screen and expressed her gratitude. "Thanks to you, I survived." "Thank you." Suddenly, she thought of something and exclaimed, "Ah." Seora panicked, "But if I go out like this, everyone won't recognize me. At least my S-rank teammates will notice the change in my abilities." The administrator changed to a bewildered emoticon, listening intently as she spoke. "I asked there any way to make sure that people don't know my abilities have increased." The administrator sent a pensive emoticon. Seeing this, Seora pleaded, "I don't want anyone to know, so I'm begging you." Just as she finished her sentence, a notification popped up. The system administrator is bestowing a blessing upon the contractor. Protection, silver screen, has been activated. This is the blessing the system administrator has bestowed upon the contractor. Seora repeated questioningly, "Silver screen?" To answer her question, the screen continued to display, "Some abilities have been concealed, so anyone without the contractor's permission will not be able to inspect abilities." Upon seeing that notification, Seora cheered. It really is the system administrator. It's done. She carefully calculated, it's time to act, but if I'm careful, I won't get caught. After making her preparations, Seora turned back to the administrator and giggled. "Mr. Administrator, thank you so much." Upon hearing her praise, the administrator immediately switched to a proud emoticon. Seeing this, Seora thought to herself, "I'll have to get used to this." The gate of the dungeon gradually appeared, and a pair of bare feet slowly stepped out. The person was none other than Seora. As she emerged, she said, "Finally!" Seora exclaimed joyfully, "I can't believe I can see the outside again." She suddenly looked at her hands and thought, "It's a shame I can't take care of that Park Jean." But thinking up to this point, Seora clenched her fists with determination. "It's okay. I'll talk to the director later. He's very good to his teammates, so at least he'll praise them." After mentally preparing herself, Seora looked up and was completely astonished. Everything in front of her was in chaos. Seeing the surrounding scenery in ruins, Seora cowered in fear. What is this? Suddenly, there was a thud. Seora looked at Junayang angrily choking Jinayang, filled with astonishment. That person is Director Joe. She thought incredulously, how could this be happening? Director Joe was the second-ranked awakened in the association, but his rank was A, the same as Park Jinayang's, so clearly the skill gap shouldn't be this big. Looking at Junayang lifting Jinayang with just one hand, Seora was surprised, but it seems like the director is overwhelming him. A notification suddenly appeared. Title, System Administrator's Contractor, has been activated. Seora looked at the screen in surprise. The screen continued to change. You can check the information of the desired person. Awakened information. Name, Zhou Juning. Rank S. Title, Master of the Holy Sword. Rank S. Demon Sword. Rank S. Characteristic, Close Combat Swordsman. Holy Covenant. Master of the Holy Sword. Notable, currently disguised as an A-rank hunter. After reading the long string of information, Seora covered her mouth in shock as she learned the truth. I can see other people's information? They said that only special people among the awakened can do this. Seora thought to herself, I've really become a cheater. Moreover, I understand now. Looking at the enraged Junayang in front of her, Seora finally realized that energy overflowing around Director Joe, that's the power of an S rank. After receiving the new information, Seora felt fortunate that she had been cautious. Director Joe had hidden the fact that he was an S rank. That meant he would definitely notice the change in her. It was a good thing she had requested to have her power concealed before leaving the dungeon. Seora took a step forward and hesitated. It should be okay to call him now, right? Then, she called out, Director Joe. Hearing her voice, Junayang immediately turned around and replied, Hunter Seoryun. Realizing Sora was alive, Junang instantly threw Jinayang away, causing him to cry out, ugh. He then rushed towards her and shouted, Hunter Seora Yun. Approaching her, Junang quickly asked, are you alright? Meanwhile, Seora made up her mind. Alright, from now on, I'm a patient. Having decided, Seora pretended to be dizzy and stumbled, saying, Director Joe, I just escaped the dungeon. Next, she collapsed into Junayang's arms and exclaimed, ah. Seeing this, he cried out in alarm. Hunter Sirayun, the system administrator, seeing Seora suddenly faint, appeared with a surprised expression. A few moments passed, and the administrator continued to wear that surprised expression at Seora's acting. While Junang worriedly called out, Hunter Seora, wake up! Seora, being stared at by the administrator, hurriedly thought, don't look at me like that. This is the best way to avoid being caught again. Escaping the dungeon is fine, but I guess I'll have to quit my job like this. After a while, an ambulance appeared along with Taesuk's shouts, Miss Seora, are you alright? Taesuk rushed over, frantically saying, you don't know how worried I was. I was afraid something might have happened to you, Sura. Hearing this, Seora smiled and replied, it's alright, don't worry. At this moment, Junayang, standing beside them, spoke up, Chief Jong, please go to the hospital with Hunter. Seora Yun immediately. He glanced in another direction and explained, I still have the gate to deal with, so I'll take care of that. Suddenly, Junayang and Seora looked in the same direction. Seeing the dungeon gate moving, they both exclaimed the gate. In the blink of an eye, the gate closed with their surprised cries. It's gone. Taesuk, seeing this, pushed up his glasses and said, the gate only closes when you've defeated all the monsters and cleared the dungeon. He looked at Seora and asked, Seora, you didn't defeat any of the wolves, did you? Seora avoided his gaze and replied, that's impossible. I'm an F rank. All I could do was try to escape. Then, Seora continued to change the subject. Rather than that, I'm not seriously injured and the hospital is nearby, so I'll just walk. Junayang looked at her worriedly and asked, are you sure you can walk? But just in case, you should take the ambulance. While the two were talking, Taesuk was convinced, well, Seora couldn't possibly have dealt with those wolves. Junang suddenly looked down and said, now I understand. He stared intently at her feet and said, you're only wearing one shoe. Realizing the situation was getting out of control, Seora exclaimed, ah. While she worriedly thought, I've even made the situation worse. The paramedics will now know that most of the blood on me isn't from my injuries. They'll quickly realize it's wolf blood. Junang, unaware of her thoughts, turned to Tae-Suk. Do you have any spare shoes in the ambulance? Tae-Suk replied, I'll check the vehicle. Seora continued to fret. If I get caught being an S rank like this, I might lose another precious person. Suddenly, a notification popped up on the screen, startling Seora. The notification read, System Administrator sends a gift to the sole contractor. The screen interface abruptly changed. Fluffy slippers added to inventory. This stunned Seora, huh? She stared at the screen, thinking, seriously, inventory? It's even placed in the center for maximum visibility. The administrator appeared, looking expectant of praise. Seora, embarrassed, looked away. Wait, don't look at me like that. Don't look so expectantly. She thought I'm doomed. If Director Joe, who's been protecting me, sees me like this, I'll have to hide it, even if I don't want to. Seora pulled out the slippers and stammered, Director Joe, there are slippers here. Taesuk, surprised, interjected, what? Where did you find those? Seora was now wearing adorable pink bunny slippers. Junayang, seeing this, praised her, wow, good job. You're well prepared. Taesuk, scratching his head, added, they look like rabbits. No, they're cute. Seora listlessly climbed into the ambulance, feeling numb. Administrator, I would have used them if you'd given them to me at home. After she got in, Taesuk turned to Junang. Well, what should we do with that guy now? Junayang, hearing him mention it, angrily replied, you mean Hunter Part Junayang? Of course, we'll punish him. He spoke seriously. The matter will be handled after consulting with the association president. Manager, please write a complaint to submit to the Hunter Association. I'll deliver it myself. Taesuk replied, yes, I understand. Sitting in the ambulance. Overhearing the conversation, Seora speculated, Director Joe is handling this personally. Since I survived escaping the dungeon, it'll be difficult to apply the harshest punishment. She looked towards Jinang, whose face was scowling. Seora thought, look at him. I don't think he'll get much of scolding. After leaving the dungeon, Director Joe said I might be in shock. With the association support, I was hospitalized for 2 days. The gate closed right as I came out, so I almost got trapped in the dungeon. Thanks to my natural acting skills, I'm managing to get by now. Seora sat on the hospital bed, recounting the events in the dungeon. There were 2 wolves. It seemed like they were fighting over territory and trying to kill each other. She shuddered as she relayed the story to Junayang and Taesuk. The same thing was happening with the wolf monsters, which is how I was able to escape and hide. Actually, this is a common occurrence in dungeons. Director Joe seemed to believe her story. But then, Sura suddenly spoke up. Administrator, is there a way to check if someone has a contract with a sacred body? So, if they check the contract I signed with you, will it be revealed? That might happen if the manager asks me to get checked out because he's worried about me. As soon as she finished speaking, the system screen appeared. Awakened information. Name, Sura, Ayan, rank, S. Title, System Administrator X's Contractor, Sniper currently monitoring the battlefield. Rank S. Unique Sniper Ability, Covenant Sacred Body, none. Special Features, Sole Contractor of the Earth Management Association. Sura read and thought, it's clearly a contractual relationship, but it says no contract has been signed. The screen currently displays, Covenant Sacred Body, none. This made Siora contemplate. Are you saying that the system administrator has nothing to do with gods or sacred bodies? Then what kind of being is it? Moreover, Earth's management is written as if other planets also have management systems. After a while, Siora suddenly became anxious. As a public servant, she had never encountered such a thing. But one thing was certain. If this truth were revealed, she would become the center of a storm. A sudden ringing snapped Siora back to reality. She turned to look and exclaimed in surprise. My phone. Siora approached and picked up the phone, guessing who could it be. As soon as she answered, a familiar voice asked, Are you hurt anywhere? Hearing the familiar voice, Siora thought to herself, he's still talking after work as usual. At the same time, she replied, Has the news already reached there? The person on the other end of the line was in another luxurious city. Hearing Siora's report, he said, It's okay, don't worry. He replied as he slowly walked forward. Looking at his teammates fighting the monster, he calmly said, Everything is all right. Right, Siora? She quickly replied, Yes, it's no big deal. Siora continued to reassure the young man on the phone. Oh, you don't need to worry. You can't come to Korea now anyway. Taehyun, this young man was the CEO of the Overseas Mercenary Association. Athena, Taehyun Ayan, Siora's older brother. A man approached and called Taehyun, sir. Siora thought to herself, he's my brother and an S-rank hunter. His association operates within national guilds in countries all over the world. Taehyun's concerned voice echoed in the room. Where are you? Sora, dressed in a hospital gown, sat on the bed and answered her brother through the phone. The hospital. The director told me to stay at the hospital for a day because the psychological shock could be quite significant. Taehyun worriedly asked, Who threw you into the dungeon? She gently reassured him. The administrator fought back for me. She thought angrily to herself, it would have been better if I had done it myself, but that's for later. She worriedly asked about him. Taehyun, you just conquered a rank 2 dungeon in India. Are you injured? Taehyun's calm voice made her laugh. Now's not the time to worry about me. We're all fine. Siora playfully replied, Oh, thank goodness. Now I feel a little relieved. He sighed and hesitantly replied, You really? He continued to gently instruct, All right, I need a rest, Siora. Get some good rest. Don't worry about anything. She softly replied, Yes. She gave a relieved, strained laugh, worried to the point of sweating. Fortunately, her brother would never come to Korea. Thinking about the image of herself with Taehyun, surrounded by snapping cameras, she thought to herself, My brother is quite famous in Korea too. If I go with him, there will definitely be trouble. I have to be careful not to be discovered as his relative. It could be a weakness for him. At this point, Siora sighed thoughtfully. If, even by chance, they discovered she was S-rank, it would certainly be troublesome. Siora clenched her fists, resolutely thinking, staying low-key to avoid the attention of other S-rank hunters. That's why I maintain this current life. Suddenly, she paused, wondering, now that I think about it, how do other S-rank hunters live? Of course, because we're all the same, I don't expect anything special, but most S-rank hunters in Korea are guild leaders or vice-guild leaders. Because most of them lead guilds considered the strongest in the country. Even within the community, it seems like there would be some interesting and secret conversations. The system's notification sound suddenly rang out. The system administrator was interfering with the sole contractor system. Siora was surprised, huh? The notification board changed. The system window was forced open. Siora asked in surprise, Administrator, what are you doing? She startled, sitting up and staring intently at the system board. The guilds, shops, in banks that the system is running, everything is open with the highest level of access. Seora, relieved, smiled excitedly. When I was F rank, all of this was just a story. What should I look at first? She hesitated as she reached out to press a button on the system board. Because I'm out of money. As soon as the action was completed, a series of notifications popped up. Anonymous has joined. Korea's S-rank exclusive guild. Total members, 12. Korea's S-rank exclusive guild. Total members, 11. The Holy Protection screen is in effect. Due to the influence of the protective layer, the presence of Anonymous will not be revealed to other Awakened. Seora was bewildered and delighted. The screen is also activated within the community, and I can browse freely. She stared excitedly at the system board. Let's see. What the S-rank's talking about? The system board displayed a message from someone. Please leave the community. Seora was taken aback, huh? Her face darkened, and she broke out in a sweat. Did I misread that? What else is there? The system board displayed another message that I'll tell you the story of a terrible accessory I picked up in a rank 3 dungeon today. Written by Noel. She breathed a sigh of relief, feeling deflated. It's just small talk, isn't it? All S ranks are the same. Seora continuously scrolled through the system screen. Still, at least I did. The system board displayed numerous messages from various people. Look at the person resigning from the previous post. I guess I have to smack Sue E&G upside the head. I heard that 4 guild members and 1 other had an accident today. The story about picking up poor equipment during the battle. She was astonished, hesitantly speaking. This isn't exactly interesting content, but I understand why it was posted. Is Sue E&G talking about the guild leader of the non-guild, known for their ruthlessness? She continued reading the messages. Director Joe, are you reading this article? If you see it, call me when you punish Sue E&G. I really want to see Sue E&G hit him on the head. That's right, discipline your guild members carefully. You're going to cause trouble with your subordinates? It won't work. Sue E&G, come visit our guild later. I'll show you how I train like a hunter. She thought of the man she had seen in the newspaper and guessed Hansu Ian, the man known to be cold and noble, is preparing to hit him on the head. I really want to see that too. Suddenly, as if realizing something, she remembered, if Sue Ian hits the director on the head, does that mean the director is stronger? Seora shuddered, remembering Junang lifting Jinang by the neck. That scene I saw in the park must have been really terrifying. A person this strong is my boss. I feel a little relieved. Suddenly, her eyes darkened at looking at the messages on the system board, she hesitated, thinking everyone pretends to be formal on official occasions. But, Noel, I'll contact you. Guardian Deity Guild. Oh, Iron High. The park where the gate exploded has been destroyed. The director must be very angry, hoping to withdraw forever. Please let me leave the guild. Guardian Deity Guild. You searched for your guild leader earlier, so I found your location and am telling you. After reading the messages, she broke out in a cold sweat, thinking, are they really like this? Seora flicked her hand to turn off the system screen and thought wearily, I don't know why I'm so tired. I'll look at the rest next time. She collapsed on her bed, lost in thought that it's true. Just as I thought, all the S ranks know the director's real rank. She thought fearfully, that means the moment my identity is exposed, I won't be able to live peacefully. She quickly rolled over and pulled herself together. That will never happen. Starting today, I have to hide my powers as a public servant. Suddenly, her eyes widened. Wait, to be an S rank, is it really necessary to live as a public servant? Seora sat up, thinking when I was an F rank, if I didn't work as a public servant, I wouldn't be able to live comfortably. Now that I'm an S rank, it doesn't make sense anymore, so now, can I quit my job? After asking herself, Seora leaned back against the bed, dejected. Oh, there will be problems if I quit immediately. Everyone will be very worried. There was someone in the guild who took good care of me, even though I was only an F rank. If they find out I've become an S rank, the memories of losing someone will come back. Seora pondered. For now, I'll have to keep quiet until there's a good reason. A sigh echoed in the large company. Seora muttered to herself, I can't believe I hate going to work after only 2 days off. It would probably be better to just resign. Entering the office, Seora continued to think, it hurts. It hurts so much. She said languidly, hello. Hyan, seeing her, called out in a panic, Ms. Seora. Seora, surprised, responded, Ayan, Sora, startled, grabbed her shoulders and shouted. He said you almost died in the dungeon. Are your limbs still attached? It won't be long. Your face is fuller now. I thought we had another body. Siora thought despondently. It seems the story has spread throughout the company. Hyan continued to chatter nonstop. The position of your eyes, nose, and mouth are still the same. Thank goodness, really thank goodness. Siora forced a smile, confused. Why would the position of my eyes, nose, and mouth? Her thought unfinished. Hyan continued. Anyway, it was just meeting Cho Rangskill, but I'm glad you weren't seriously injured. Siora gave a strained smile, thinking to herself, it figures that public servants can't pretend to be on the same level as big guilds. But if she's saying this, I'm a little touched. She quickly changed the subject, asking, oh, where's the director? I need to thank him. Hyan's face darkened as she hesitated. About that, the director isn't at the association right now. She turned her head, avoiding eye contact. He's under suspension. Siora's eyes widened in surprise. What? Director Joe suspended? Siora grabbed Hyan's shoulders, her voice tight with concern. What do you mean? Is that really true? Hyan stammered, I don't really know. Suddenly, a concerned voice called out from behind them. Hunter, Ayu Siora, are you back at work? Both women turned, startled, toward the sound. Siora looked at Tae-suk standing behind her, surprised. Young. He spoke hesitantly. I apologize, but the association president has summoned you. We should go now. Confused, Siora asked, yes? The association president called for me. He rubbed the back of his head, sheepishly. It seems she has something to ask you about the incident at the park. The director will explain it. Siora replied, I'll be right there. She thought to herself, it's rare for the association president to summon someone like this. She wondered, the association president, what exactly does she want to say? Not only all the awakened individuals in the country, but also an organization that managed everything from dungeons and gates, the Korean Awakened Individuals Management Association. The currently awakened individuals in Korea had to abide by the association's regulations, and the association would directly enforce penalties for any violations of these regulations. No matter how you looked at it, it seemed like a form of dictatorship. In reality, thanks to this unity, the damage to non-awakened individuals had decreased, and dungeons could now be conquered efficiently. The tragic scenario of a single awakened individual shouldering all the responsibility no longer occurred. All of this led to the establishment of the association, and it was thanks to the association president, who personally sat in the highest seat. Inside the large building, Siora opened the door and entered. President. The woman sitting in the room spoke warmly. It's been so long, I almost forgot your face. Hunter, Ayu Siora. This woman was Song Hannah, the president of the Korean Awakened Individuals Management Association. She asked with concern, at least your eyes, nose, and mouth are still intact, right? Are your limbs all right? Siora listened, thinking with annoyance. I feel like I've heard this before. She stepped in front of Hannah, irritated. You know everything already. Hannah asked pointedly, huh? What do you mean? Siora thought angrily. I can't believe she's pretending not to know anything. Song Hannah, the top-ranked S-Class Awakened in Korea's unofficial rankings, thanks to her sanest ability, maintains the appearance of someone in their early 30s. But, in reality, she's a first-generation Awakened nearing 50, making her a fitting representative of the beginning and current state of awakened individuals in South Korea. Siora hesitated, her lips moving slightly as she thought, but I'm not afraid of the president because... Hannah placed her hands on her hips and asked with a curious smile, the one who contacted your mother, was it the association president? Siora continued her internal monologue. The association president is a close friend of my mother, a secret to the association members. Hannah laughed brightly. Of course. Who else would tell High and High about your story besides me? She then sighed dramatically. Honestly, do you know how hard it was to stop her from coming here? Hannah asked with amusement. She said she wouldn't come to Korea. She seemed quite distraught. Hannah added, if the director hadn't handled things the way he did, no matter what I said, High and High would have definitely come to Korea. Siora placed her hand on the table, confusion evident in her voice. Why was the director disciplined? Did he do something wrong? Hannah shrugged. He deserved to be disciplined. He caused a scene in the park. He's a public official. Hearing this, Siora sighed. I didn't think of it that way. This happened because of me. What do I do now? Hannah replied nonchalantly. He didn't seem that bothered by it, although he did receive a 2-month salary deduction for the park restoration fees. Siora gasped, salary deduction. For 2 months? She worried to herself. What should I do to apologize to the director? This is all my fault. Hannah looked at her with a puzzled expression. Siora, why would you apologize? You saw the director beat an A rank like that. And there can't be such a huge gap between A ranks. You're quick-witted, so you must have realized it, right? Siora pondered. I could check the information with the administrator's help, but it might be better to pretend I don't know anything for now. She hesitantly asked, so, is the director actually S rank? Hannah stated, currently, there are a total of 11 S ranks in the country. Among them, only one hasn't been revealed, and that's Director Joe Junayang. Siora, feeling a sense of relief, continued, it seems you don't know there are 12, including me. Why are you hiding his identity? Hannah calmly replied, the director wants it that way. If you were in a guild, you might not know, but as an S-rank public official, she chuckled. He says he's afraid he won't be able to see what needs to be seen. The difference between S rank and A rank is like heaven and earth. So, you don't need to worry about what the director does. Because of his value, he receives a higher salary, and any disciplinary actions or warnings are just a way to cover up his S rank status. Siora sighed sadly. Even so, he had to endure things he shouldn't have because of me. Feeling guilty is unavoidable. Hannah raised her hand, which became enveloped in a brilliant golden light. My lovely little niece, you're mistaken about one thing. Siora gave a soft, confused yes, and Hannah continued, you became a victim of this because of that bastard. He's both your junior and the director's. It's only natural that we seek revenge for someone vulnerable like you. Siora worriedly thought to herself, even though we're both S rank, I'm still shocked. The director wouldn't do something like this. Is that why she's been at the top of the country for decades? Thinking this, Siora asked, do you want to hit Park Jin-ae? Hannah asked sarcastically, do I just want to hit him? She stood up from her chair and continued, he made my precious niece bleed. I should take Han Soo-yeon's dog's head. Siora anxiously thought, I think I saw that phrase not too long ago. It was probably in the community forum. Hannah walked towards her, continuing, when I finish the job, Han Soo-yeon said he and Park Jin-ae will come to apologize to you. She placed a comforting hand on Siora's shoulder. Now, what do you want to do? You don't have to accept their apology if you don't want to. To get your information, both Director Joe and Director Shin opposed it, but I recommended it to them. She playfully poked Siora's cheek. Because, niece, you wanted to see Park Jin-ae and Han Soo-yeon fight, right? Siora chuckled to herself, embarrassed. I can't believe she understands me so well. Hannah looked at her with a cheerful gaze. She quickly changed the subject. Now, let's move on to a different topic. Siora, startled, glanced at her. Is there anything else to talk about besides Park Jin-ae? Hannah suggested excitedly. Let me give you an S-rank weapon. Siora hesitated, thinking I already have one, and it's pretty scary. Then she asked for me. She hurriedly added, I'm only F rank, so I can't even handle a gun properly. Hannah explained, but it will help you feel safer. S-rank weapons are powerful even without special functions. You just need to use it when you're in danger. Hearing this, Siora thought to herself, embarrassed, I've been through enough being thrown into dungeons. Well, compared to the director, I don't mind this anymore, but the administrator sent a look of pride. Siora muttered, he looks embarrassed. I've seen the administrator act proud or excited, but this is the first time I've seen him embarrassed. It's so cute. Hannah placed her hand on Siora's shoulder excitedly. All right, think about it. Siora let out a small huh. Hannah added now, go pick something out. Siora was pulled along, flustered. Wait, I was just laughing at the administrator, Annie. Her steps stopped. She looked at the room, her eyes widening in astonishment. Oh my God, how much does all this cost? Hannah looked at her with a cheerful smile and replied, as long as you're happy. She proudly announced, hunters choose weapons from the association president's exclusive armory. You're the first. Siora covered her mouth in awe and admiration, as expected of the association president. The association always prepares weapons in case of emergencies, because awakened weapons are so expensive, so most of them were C-rank weapons or lower. However, as the president of the Korean Awakened Management Association, this didn't apply to Song Hannah, who had signed a contract with one of the highest-ranked companies in the world. In other words, the association president's armory was a paradise for the awakened. In Siora's eyes, Hannah now shone like a star, radiating a brilliant aura that evoked admiration. Seeing Siora's surprised and delighted face, Hannah gently asked her, it may not sound exciting, but seeing it in person is quite something, isn't it? What kind of weapon do you want? Hannah advised her, considering your characteristics, a gun would be quite suitable. Siora happily gazed at the weapons displayed in the glass cases and replied, an S-rank gun would be powerful enough for me to use. Siora stopped at the gun display, observing carefully. She thought to herself, don't worry, Andy. Back when I was an F-rank hunter, I couldn't even shoot a gun. Now I have unlimited magic power to shoot as much as I want. Siora reached for the gun she had carefully selected, but the administrator's face suddenly appeared, causing her to panic. Siora fumbled, trying to reach for it again and again, but she couldn't. Disappointed, she thought, "Why are you doing this, administrator? Don't stop me. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity." Hannah, standing behind her, asked curiously, "Sora, what are you doing?" Siora startled, "Nothing." Hannah feigned a worried expression. "Nothing? Don't tell me you're too surprised and shocked by what's happening. You're not someone who loses their composure so easily." She clenched her fists, gritting her teeth in anger. "I will never forgive that bastard Park Jin-young." Siora asked blankly, "President, are you all right?" Hannah's demeanor changed with lightning speed, completely opposite to just a moment ago. She gently placed her hand on Siora's shoulder and said cheerfully, "All right, I need to control myself. Hurry up and choose a weapon." Hannah reminded Siora, "You have to choose wisely." She thought to herself, "One day, she'll pretend it was a mistake and kill him." Squeezing Siora's shoulder, she continued, "No, you'll have the chance to do it yourself, won't you?" Siora was taken aback, frightened by Hannah's serious tone, which didn't sound like a joke. "But the administrator won't even let me touch them. So how the hell am I supposed to get a gun?" A system notification popped up. Siora looked at it with displeasure. "What is it now, system?" The image of an S-rank gun appeared on the screen. Siora froze. Don't tell me. Why choose an S-rank weapon when they're giving me an S-rank weapon? You're the best." Siora forced a smile, but inside, a storm raged. "Administrator, that's a secondary weapon." Secondary weapon? In a battle, of course a gun will come first. The administrator didn't budge. Siora exclaimed, "You're so stingy." After regaining her composure, she considered her options. "All right, now I just need to choose something that isn't a gun, right?" So, Hannah, seeing Siora spacing out, inquired, "Aren't you going to look at the weapons?" She didn't answer, but looked back. Fortunately, there was something just right. Siora rushed over excitedly. "President, can I use this?" Hannah was surprised. This is a mace? Not using a gun is okay." She approved of Siora's choice. "It seems perfect to use. Take it." She thought to herself, S-rank mace, red mace. This is a very durable weapon, suitable for S-rank. More than that, it has unique and powerful strength. If used correctly, it will become the most useful weapon for Siora. But it shouldn't be used too often. It's better not to have any reason to use it at all. It's a bit of shame, but I'm happy, so let's leave it at that. Siora was jumping for joy. Yay, a free weapon. Siora took the mace in her hand, a bright smile blooming on her face. Her cheeks flushed. "President, thank you." Hannah smiled and waved goodbye. "It's been a while, but you still look so cute. If it weren't for this envious holy sacrament, I would have given you a big hug right now." She thought regretfully, but not in the situation. The door opened, and Hannah stepped inside, the click-clack of her heels echoing on the floor. A golden light suddenly appeared, surrounding Hannah's body. With a look of disgust, Hannah said in a dismissive tone, "Don't touch me so casually. First, you have to give me the answer I want." A shadowy figure faced Hannah, its eyes glowing like embers. Hannah asked suspiciously, "Are you sure nothing happened to our Siora?" Siora is the daughter of a deceased friend whom I cherished deeply. She entrusted her daughter to me. My niece is so precious that it wouldn't even hurt if I put her in my eye. Yet Siora said she almost died in the dungeon. If it weren't for this position, where there are so many things to protect, I would have killed that bastard already. Hannah clenched her fists in frustration, but I can't. So at the very least, I need to check. Is Siora really safe? Hannah stared intently at the shadow, her expression serious. "What do you see when you look at Siora, greedy predator?" As soon as she finished speaking, the system announced, "Greedy predator does not wish to lie to the contractor. Greedy predator chooses silence." Hannah put her hand on her chin thoughtfully. "Silence? I didn't expect you to choose silence. Is that your choice, or is it unavoidable?" The notification appeared again. "Greedy predator complains, saying you will find this very difficult to overcome." Hannah felt like her head was about to explode, that it's unavoidable. As the head, there's usually nothing that bothers me. But it's so powerful that even my holy sacrament is silenced. Does that mean it has a great influence on Siora? She immediately asked, "Is Siora currently in any danger?" The system announced, "Greedy predator nods. She is safe, not in danger." Hannah asked again, "Are you sure?" Hannah bowed her head, waiting for the answer, her face filled with tension and worry. She theorized, if she's still safe after such a huge influence, I can guess one thing. Siora has made a contract with a high-ranking god in the dungeon. But If that's true, why is Siora's power no different from when she was F rank? And why didn't she tell me about it? Well, she's grown up now. She doesn't need to tell me everything anymore. Henna gently picked up a picture of herself and Siora from the table, her voice filled with sadness. Siora, what are you going through now? The wind rustled. Siora took a deep breath. In the quiet, deserted dungeon, she muttered, I think I know why the system forbade me from touching S-rank weapons now. After getting a taste of a high-end gun, how could I ever be satisfied with S-rank weapons? Siora stretched. She seemed to have trained hard, tired but filled with exhilaration that I took down a level 3 boss in one shot. And now, a level 4 dungeon is this easy. I guess I really have become S-rank. Humans really do adapt to things. Naturally, Siora sat cheerfully atop the pile of monsters she had slain. Lycidu was a bit surprised, but I'm glad I trusted the administrator and came here. Right now, I'm alone in this dungeon, using the administrator's system. I'm eager to test the full potential of my S rank and my brand new weapon when the administrator introduces me to a newly appeared dungeon. Normally, dungeons would be reported to the association immediately because a mana shockwave forms when they appear. However, the administrator intervened so the shockwave wouldn't be detected, and that's why I can explore this dungeon to my heart's content. Siora herself had changed so much now. She suddenly remembered her weak, cowardly past self. It feels like just yesterday I accepted death in a level 3 dungeon, and now I'm S rank and venturing into a level 4 dungeon. And that's how I can clearly feel it. The absolute difference in power, speed, and physical abilities in every aspect. I've become a completely different person. Suddenly, the system window popped up. The administrator sent an angry emoticon. Seeing this, Siora thought, speaking of which, why is his emoticon like this? She asked curiously, Administrator, are you sulking? She bit her lip anxiously, wondering, don't tell me it's because I used a red iron mace. Its subskills are too good, so I tried out a little. Perhaps Hannah thought I'd choose an easy-to-use weapon even when I was only F rank. But I actually chose that mace after carefully considering the subskills. The Blood Mace's subskill is to transform into a whip when soaked in the blood of its awakened owner. Because I have the sniper attribute, adding a whip effect for a wide area attack would make it an excellent backup weapon in dungeons. Siora scratched her face. Thinking seriously, I have to do something to make him feel better. She said aloud, Oh, Administrator, no matter what, hit is still the best. Siora held up her S-rank gun, forcing a flattering smile. This isn't just an S-rank weapon. It's a weapon you personally bestowed upon me. Compared to this, the red iron mace is just a backup. The administrator's mood brightened slightly. The system announced, Red Iron Mace has been moved to storage. Siora breathed a sigh of relief. Thank goodness, he's happier, though not completely. Siora immediately switched to another tactic. She put away her S-rank gun, thinking to herself, I guess I have to treat him more delicately from now on. She said decisively, All right, now then, should I sell the items after clearing this dungeon? After defeating the monsters in the dungeon, Siora obtained quite a bit of loot. She muttered, The items dropped in level 3 and 4 dungeons are very useful for crafting equipment, so they sell really quickly when posted in the system shop. That's why I took everything I could carry when I left the werewolf's habitat. Werewolf leather, werewolf claws. I'll sell everything and get paid. Since high-level items usually fetch a good price, I'll sell them so I could buy items I couldn't get before. At this rate, I'll be rich soon, she thought, dreaming of a wealthy and prosperous life, gold raining down, more than she could spend. Hyjin, her eyes unfocused, called out in a low voice, Siora, you seem to be in good spirits? Siora, who was checking the shop, was startled. She asked, puzzled, what do you mean? No way, I just had a terrible experience. How could I be in good spirits? Hyjin retorted, you're a terrible liar. I thought you might be lost in negative thoughts, so I lost sleep worrying about you. And here you are, smiling like everything is fine. Hyjin looked very sad and disappointed. I'm a little upset, like my worrying was pointless. Siora gave a forced laugh, thinking I look too excited, but anyone would be like me. Especially when I think about how my bank account will have a huge amount of money after I sell all the items I got from the level 4 dungeon. Siora smiled and calmly reassured Hyjin, Don't worry, I'm not bothered by what happened in the dungeon anymore. Hyjin, trusting her, replied, All right. Siora's face was bright and cheerful. Anyway, thank you for worrying about me. Hyjin smiled happily, satisfied. She then changed the subject. So, now tell me why you're happy. Siora was taken aback, bewildered. Huh? Hyjin eagerly pleaded, Come on, spill the beans. Siora quickly evaded the question. Emergency. I'm only F rank. Seora seemed unsteady, reaching out to hold onto the door, panting, huff, huff. She looked dejected, her cheeks flushed and swollen, looking extremely tired. She complained, "Why is Hyjin from the magic group so strong? It was Hyjin who made my cheeks puff up like machi." Tisiok suddenly appeared, seemingly having overheard Seora's monologue. He said, "Thinking that magic-type awakened individuals are physically weak is a stereotype." Seora was surprised, "Mr. Young?" Tisiok waved. "Are you free? The association president needs your input on a few things." And Park Jin-young is at the association. Seora was stunned, bewildered. "What? I thought Mr. Du beat him up badly. How could he recover quickly enough to come here?" Tisiok put a hand to his chin, thinking it's clear the Blue Wolves Guild healed him. Seora was disheartened and immediately sarcastic. "Oh really? I'm so envious of the benefits they give to someone who threw innocent people into a dungeon." Seeing her tension, Tisiok explained, No, that's not it. I think they healed him so he could come here himself to apologize to you directly. He'll have to kneel and apologize, but if you don't accept, he'll have to kneel until all the guild members and association members involved meet face to face." Seora was surprised, this being completely contrary to her thoughts. Unexpected. "I thought their guild master would side with their own member no matter what. But will that bastard Jin Young truly reveal his nature in front of S-rank hunters? I doubt it." Ora held up 2 fingers towards Tisiok, frankly stating her wish as a victim. Instead of a meeting. "I want to meet him, just the 2 of us in a room without security cameras, preferably." Tisiok was bewildered. Huh? But Sora, understanding his concerns, cut him off. If anyone else is present, he might put on a fake apology. "I want to hear his true feelings." Seora took out the red mace, displaying its power. And don't worry too much. Tisiok was stunned. That is Sora continued to persuade him. I'm not defenseless. The association president gave me this item for self-defense. I wonder if this weapon is stronger or an A-rank hunter. Tisiok gaped. That's for self-defense. Finally, Seora convinced Tisiok to arrange a private meeting for her. My meeting with that Park Jin-young has been decided. If he has any conscience left, he'll at least feel guilty for what he's done. Jin-young was waiting in the room, clicking his tongue and glaring impatiently, his attitude showing little remorse. Seora thought to herself, but of course this bastard won't be like that. As soon as Young left, his expression changed. Is he naive or stupid? Sora started by asking, did you come here to apologize? She urged him, hurry up, because we're both busy. His face was haughty. I'll apologize? You really think I'd apologize to someone like you? Seora calmly replied, of course, because you're the culprit who almost killed me. Jin-young flew into a rage, jumping to his feet. He yelled, you? Seora looked away, challenging him, what? Are you trying to threaten me? Go ahead, I wonder how and with what you'll threaten me, She immediately pulled out the red mace and continued, moreover, I also want to see the power of the S-rank weapon the association president gave me, just for self-defense. Jin-young's face paled, as if he couldn't believe it. S-rank? S. How could that be an S-rank weapon? Seora thought. Young is only C-rank, but he could recognize this in a blink of an eye. He's truly incompetent. Seora smirked. You're an A-rank hunter, but you can't recognize an S-rank weapon? Especially for someone who's a raid captain of a large guild. And you know self-defense is also recognized for public officials, right? If you try to threaten me, then that's when you'll die. He seemed to be bracing himself to hide his trembling fear. What are you talking about? Seora stepped closer, pressing him. Also, aren't you going to apologize? He stumbled backward, falling hard onto the floor, crying out in pain. His eyes narrowed, his brow furrowing. WH, what is this? She's just a weak F rank. Backslash. I swear she's just a weak F rank. Backslash, however. Siora's gaze remained icy and indifferent as she looked at him, an oppressive force that made his fears surge. He thought to himself, backslash, but why can't I move a muscle? Backslash. Jin Young gritted his teeth, a vein throbbing in his temple. He pointed at her and roared accusingly, backslash, I won't do it. Why should I? Nothing would have happened if you knew your place and just kept quiet. I wouldn't have closed the gate either, backslash. The more he spoke, the more he felt justified, his voice growing louder. She's the one who should be on her knees begging for forgiveness, not me. Hearing this, Siora's face darkened. She thought silently. So, in the end, he doesn't feel a shred of guilt for pushing me into that dungeon. Thoroughly disgusted, she waved her hand dismissively, her voice cold. We should end this meeting here today. I'll see you again later with the Blue Wolf Association president. Jin Young scrambled to his feet, his face flushed with anger. He leaned in close, his voice low and menacing. You should remember that the association won't always support you. Then he spun around furiously, slamming the door shut behind him. Siora sighed softly. One idiotic bastard. How did someone like him get appointed as the raid team captain? Even so, I can't believe I was intimidated by such an ignorant fool. Before he left the meeting room, I shot a bit of mana into him to show him just how big the gap is between his current strength and mine. But he was completely oblivious. The thought cheered her up. Based on what I saw, it seems I can easily handle Jin Young if he decides to secretly follow me. A notification sound rang out. Siora turned and said, Administrator, he seems quite pleased. She thought carefully. Knowing that bastard, he'll definitely be back for revenge. I'll be ready for him. Next time he tries to mess with me, I'll make sure he pays. At that moment, Jin Young arrived at the Blue Wolf Association headquarters in Korea. A deep male voice echoed, I trust you delivered a proper apology. Didn't you? The man glanced up, raising an eyebrow at him. That's why you're back, I presume? After all, I explicitly instructed you to remain there if she refused to accept your apology. The icy tone belonged to Han Suin, the president of the Blue Wolf Association. Jin Young lowered his head without a word, only daring to think to himself, why did things end up like this? I was planning to lay low until I shook off those government officials who were tailing me. But why did the president summon me the moment I returned? While he was lost in thought, Suin's voice cut through, cold and sharp. Your answer? Startled, he quickly raised his head and replied, Yes, sir, I did exactly as you instructed. Suin pushed his glasses up slightly, his voice calm. And you're certain the victim accepted your apology? He broke out in a cold sweat, cursing inwardly. Why does everyone keep talking about that damn victim? The real victim here isn't that girl, it's me. I got beaten up by a damn monster like that. Moreover, it wasn't my fault the gate closed. So why does everyone keep calling me a criminal? Seeing him scowling and refusing to speak, Sun narrowed his eyes, his gaze piercing Jin Young. He set down the pen in his hand, his voice hardening. Mr. Hark, I made it very clear that I detest lies. Then his icy gaze bore into him, carrying an undisguised threat that if I discover you've been dishonest, you'll pay dearly. Jin Young, startled, quickly replied, Yes, sir. But inwardly, he had already devised a plan. Even if that F-rank claimed she never received a proper apology, I just need to say she's lying to get back at me. In the end, people will find my words as an A-rank raid team captain more convincing than an F-rank public servant. Suin picked up the pen again, twirling it between his fingers. His voice was calm as he spoke. Is that all? By the way, where did you get that cut on your cheek? Hearing this, Jin Young responded in a panicked tone, What cut? Suin looked at his bewildered expression and added, It looks quite deep. Didn't you notice? He touched the wound on his face, muttering, Huh? Since when? Suin watched him and softly said, Seeing as the blood hasn't dried yet, it must have happened not too long ago. But Jin Young quietly thought to himself, That's a good point. Suin, no longer interested, thought with confusion, A good point? Then, Suin coldly decided, You're fired. And I want to reiterate, don't reveal the truth about where you got that. If you want to continue living, that is. He didn't dare argue, only managing to say, Yes, sir. I'll leave now. When he left, Suin's face darkened, his eyes thoughtful. Park Jin Young, a high-ranking hunter, didn't even realize there was a cut on his cheek until I pointed it out. That can only mean that wound was inflicted by a powerful S-rank hunter, capable of deceiving the energy perception of an A-rank hunter. But he couldn't have encountered Chairman Song Hana, and Dude Junayang is currently under probation. That leaves a mysterious figure I'm unaware of, Suin pondered, slowly picking up the documents and continuing to contemplate. Yun-se, realistically speaking, it's almost impossible for an F-rank hunter to survive an X-rank dungeon. However, she returned unscathed. He mused for a moment, then decided, I suppose I'll know when I meet her directly. A few days later, Seora and Heejun looked excitedly towards an imposing figure. She rejoiced inwardly. Finally, Mr. Du is back at work after his probationary period. Taehyuk couldn't even hide his excitement, immediately pulling out a prepared welcome banner and enthusiastically shouting, Welcome back, Senior Manager Du Junang, the hero of the association. Junang glanced at him, raising an eyebrow slightly, and said indifferently, When did you make this? You should focus on your work instead of spending time on such foolish things. As soon as he finished speaking, the atmosphere in the room immediately turned somber. A heavy silence fell, making everyone a little tense. A moment later, Seora opened the door to his office and politely said, Excuse me, Mr. Du. Junang, seeing her, replied, Ms. Yun, please come in. Seora paused briefly, a little flustered by his seriousness, and quickly replied, Oh, all right. Then he seriously said, Actually, I want to talk to you about your meeting with Mr. Park. Did Park Jin-young offend you in any way? If so, I'll file a formal complaint with the Blue Wolf Association. Seora fidgeted with her hands, softly replying, No, not really. She silently reproached herself. I'm the reason Mr. Du was put on probation and had his pay cut for 2 months. But I can't believe he's worried about me. She sincerely voiced her feelings. Actually, I felt really bad when you were put on probation and had your pay cut. She lowered her head as she continued, and I wanted to formally apologize to you. I am truly sorry. Junang, flustered by her actions, softly asked, Didn't the chairman tell you what happened? I mean, she did, but I'm sure she told you. The disciplinary actions were just a formality and didn't really affect me much. Actually, it was more like a mini vacation. However, that being said, he smiled, gently adding, If it makes you feel better, I'll accept your apology. Please consider the matter settled. Seora, her eyes sparkling, looked at him gratefully. He endured so much because of me. Mr. Du seems like a really good person. Then she continued, stammering slightly, Thank you, Mr. Du. He looked at her without speaking, thinking to himself, No, Ms. Yun, I'm the one who should apologize. Not you. He recalled a few days prior at a cafe. Taehyun had spoken to him. Junang, I have a favor to ask. Taehyun looked at Junang and continued, You know I'll be leaving Korea soon. Taehyun spoke slowly. I'm working with the Overseas Mercenary Association, Athena, but it seems I can't bring Seora with me there. The head of Athena has a hobby of collecting strong hunters. In her eyes, Seora is considered too weak. Taehyun worried, even if I bring her along, the members of that association have egos too big to welcome Seora just because she's my sister. After finishing, Taehyun clasped his hands together resolutely. So, I plan to join Athena first, establish a foundation, and then bring Seora over. So Junang, I'm hoping you can look after Seora for me until then. You're the only one I can ask. A few seconds passed. Then Junang firmly replied, I would have done so even if you hadn't asked. Don't worry and take care of yourself. Junang looked at him seriously and added, I'll make sure nothing dangerous happens while you're gone. I promise. Back in the present, after recalling that promise, Junang clenched his fists, feeling regret. I have to be more attentive and take better care of her so that nothing like this happens again. I almost broke my promise to Taehyun. After that thought, Junang asked Seora, Can you tell me exactly how that Park guy apologized? Hearing him speak, Seora cheerfully replied, Yes, Director Du. Then Seora recounted everything that happened to Junang. He listened attentively and concluded, I understand. Hunter Park not only didn't apologize, but he also threatened you. The Blue Wolf Association president said you accepted the apology. That means Park lied. Hearing him say that, Seora indignantly asked, The association president believed him? Junang replied, President Han-sun wouldn't believe him just because he's a member of the association. As a wise person, he'll want to hear from both sides before acting. Junang took a sip of his coffee and replied, It's puzzling, Seora. If Han-sun is that influential, why would she appoint that Jin-young as the raid team captain? He continued, Perhaps she considered the value of having an A-rank hunter, and until now, that Park hasn't caused any serious incidents like this one. Seora pondered his explanation, still deep in thought. Even so, I still don't understand why she'd hire someone like Jin-young. I heard they're both coming here tomorrow. I wish I could just get an apology and be done with it. I've had enough to worry about already. However, some people visited the association even before Han-sun. A voice suddenly exclaimed, Wow, it's been a while since I've been here. Inji looked around and said comfortably, This place seems to get nicer every time I visit. Soon crossed her arms and replied, You think they'd let us swap headquarters buildings? If the chairman allowed it, anything is possible. Seora, watching them from afar, panicked and ruffled her hair. Wait, those two. At the same time, Inji and Soon thought there's no way she'd switch seriously. Seora remained surprised. Those famous S-rank hunters. Inji, also known as Inji, the guild master of the Twilight Guild. Seora looked at them in bewilderment. Shouldn't they be busy running their guilds? Why are they here? And Soon, or Ayu Soon, the guild master of the Nightlaw Guild. Seora frowned, trying to figure it out. Did they really come here to watch Han Suyenbauer head? Do S-rank hunters hate each other that much? I had a feeling after reading the community page, but I can't believe it's them. Those people are psychos. Suddenly, Inji turned sharply and looked in one direction. Seora flinched, startled. Did she notice me? Her senses are as sharp as a wild animal's. Inji raised 2 fingers and said, "Hello there." Seora was dumbfounded. She even greeted me. Juning, standing next to her, said, "I can't believe those two actually showed up here." Seora turned to him and exclaimed, "Directordo." His next words made Seora apprehensive. "Could you escort them to my office?" But Seora still replied, "Yes, director." At Junayang's office. Junayang covered his face in exasperation that I explicitly told you two not to come. Do you know how startled the staff, including Ms. Yun Seora, were when 2 S-rank guild masters suddenly appeared? Inji and Soon simultaneously looked at Seora and thought, "Huh." Then, one of them spoke up, "Yin Seora? You mean that F-rank official?" Hearing that, Seora was secretly relieved. Thank goodness. It seems like the protective barrier is working well. Inji approached her, took her hand, and said with a smile, "You must be the public official harassed by that idiotic guild member under Lin Sun." Soon agreed, "Oh, you poor thing. How dare they let a frail public official like you face such danger?" Inji cried out indignantly, "It's unacceptable. Even if Soon begs for forgiveness, it's not enough." Soon looked at Seora with glistening eyes and said, "Hey, public official girl, let me heal you. You didn't even receive a proper apology. Poor you." Seeing their attitudes, Seora froze for a few seconds. These people are really serious about belittling Han Suin, huh? Suddenly, Junayang spoke up angrily. "Enough is enough. I thought I made it clear when I said you two are making our staff uncomfortable." But Inji didn't seem scared at all. Covering her mouth with a laugh, she said, "Come on, we're just showing concern for your subordinate. We certainly weren't suggesting that the civil servant should make Suin kneel at her feet." Then, Inji cheerfully asked, "By the way, when is Han Suin arriving?" Junayang bluntly replied, "If you two are only here to see him, you should leave. This doesn't concern either of you." Hearing this, Suun put on a cute expression. In a way, Suun wants to see him. Seeing this, Inji mimicked her. "Me too." Inji wants to see him too. After causing such a big problem, why wouldn't he apologize? Both of them simultaneously put on exaggeratedly sweet expressions that I'll stay here until I see him. "Me too." Seora, witnessing all of this, simply remained silent and smiled politely. These 2 guild masters, really? Junayang, at this point, felt a headache coming on. He softly said, "Please leave before you two upset the association president." Just as he finished speaking, footsteps approached, and a man's voice rang out. I didn't expect to see both guild masters here at the same time. Suin strode forward arrogantly and asked, "Does the association president have an appointment with someone other than me? Or am I supposed to meet her with these two?" Upon seeing the person who entered, Sura thought, "Han Suin, he's here." The atmosphere in the conference room was stifling. I never realized this when I was in F rank. It seems like they're subtly fighting each other. Junayang spoke, breaking the tense silence that of course not. "Your meeting with the association president will still be held as scheduled." Suin stiffly replied, "I'm glad to hear that." Suddenly, Seora had another thought, or not. It seems like the atmosphere has lightened up. After a moment, Junayang looked at the 2 women across from him and said, "Well, you two should return to your guilds." Seeing that there was nothing left for them to do here, they both chimed in unison, "All right." Having sat for a while, Seora felt weary. She thought to herself, "This is tiring. We haven't even started the main event yet. Aren't Director Du and President Han affected by these S-rankers?" Suddenly, she noticed something. "What is it?" Seora looked nervously at Suan. Yes, he's looking at me. Like he's scouting me out or something." Seeing him getting closer and closer, Seora worried. No way. Does he realize something? No. The administrator's cloaking shield is still working perfectly, and the other S-rankers haven't noticed anything. while Seora was thinking, then why is he acting like this? Sun had already arrived in front of her. Seora wondered, bewildered, it can't be. The administrator's cloaking shield is still working perfectly, and the other S ranks haven't noticed anything either. Sun moved closer and stared at her. Seora wondered, so why is he acting like this? Just then, Junang walked over and glanced at the two of them. He placed his hands on the table, blocking Suin's view of Seora, and coldly asked, is there a problem? Seora was startled by his sudden action. She thought to herself, Mr. Du. Suin immediately explained, no, it's nothing. I just have something to say to Ms. Yun. Having said that, he called out Ms. Yun. Seora replied, yes. Suin, with an utterly sincere attitude, bowed his head and apologized to her. I'm truly sorry for what you had to go through because of the foolish actions of my association member. As the guild master of Blue Wolf, I apologize. Seora was taken aback by this unexpected action. She thought to herself, what? He's apologizing as the guild master? I had anticipated something like a formal apology since I was told he's a meticulous person, but I didn't expect him to take responsibility as the guild master. Junang suggested to Sun, apologizing here will only make Ms. Yun uncomfortable. We should discuss this later in your office, guild master. At this suggestion, Sun pushed up his glasses and immediately agreed. All right, fine. Sua se bewildered, glancing at Yun. She observed the expression on the man beside her and immediately realized, Mr. Du seems a bit angry, or am I imagining it? Seora recalled the two people she had met earlier and thought to herself, because compared to the two S ranks before, Mr. Han is much more reasonable. Inji laughed heartily, waving goodbye to Seora. We'll be going now, Seora. Sun also chuckled, telling her, make sure Lin Sun kneels properly. Seora touched her chin. The more she thought about the hateful Jean, Ayang, the more perplexed she became that I never thought that Han Sun, the guild master of Blue Wolf, one of the 5 strongest guilds in Korea, would bow his head and apologize because of a jerk like that. Anyway, how did he even decide to recruit Jin Ayang as the raid team captain? At this moment, Jin Ayang was glaring at Seora with eyes full of resentment. Seeing this, she thought disdainfully, this is why choosing the right people to work for you is so important. Seora angrily pouted. Park Jin Ayang, get crushed and take this as an opportunity to reflect on your mistakes. The scene then shifted to the front of a large building. Sun ordered Mr. Park Jin-Ayang, kneel down and bow your head. Although unwilling, he still knelt down and cursed inwardly. Damn it. Suin's angry voice rang out again. Don't make me repeat myself. Do it. Jin-Ayang, furious, clenched his fists and cursed under his breath. Damn it. Jin-Ayang bowed his head, wondering, why is the atmosphere so tense? Hannah's sarcastic voice rang out better. Now then, let's talk. Suin spoke up, asking Seora, first, I want to ask you a few things, Ms. Yun. Is it true that Mr. Park visited you 2 days ago to apologize, and then everything was resolved amicably? Seora immediately denied it and O. On the contrary, he insisted that I was the one in the wrong, and that he was the one who deserved an apology. Hearing this, Jin-Ayang agitatedly yelled, she's lying. He continued, Bamandit, she's desperately saying that to get revenge on me. Why would you suddenly lie like that? I clearly apologized. Suin stroked his chin and coldly replied, is that so? Jining, full of confidence, patted his chest and assured, yes, I swear she's doing this to get revenge on me. He thought smugly, I know the guild master will take my side. But Suin coldly ordered him, then apologize again. Jin-Ayang's face paled. He stared at the person in front of him in disbelief. What? Suyin reminded him, Ms. Yin almost died because of you. So even if she lied, it's nothing compared to what you did, Mr. Park. That's why you should get on your knees and apologize until she's willing to forgive you. Even Seora was taken aback by Suyin's handling of the situation. She suddenly realized, so this is the demeanor of the head of one of Korea's most powerful associations? He's so magnanimous and very good-looking, too. Seora muttered to her system in bewilderment. What's gotten into you? I'm allowed to compliment him a little, right? She glanced at Jin-Ayang and started to feel exhausted. I'm more used to idiots like this. Right now, Jin-Ayang was still feeling resentful about Suyin's decision. He yelled, Guild Master, this is unfair to me. He continued to justify his actions that I just wanted her to be realistic because she was taking the fight's Hunter's face in dungeon raids too lightly. Even though she's only an F rank, you've never even participated in A raid. Besides, do you really think I knew the gate was about to close and deliberately pushed her in? Seora clenched her fists in anger, gritting her teeth. I can't believe he's still blaming me. Then, Seora resolved not to let him get away with it. No way, I'm the one with the upper hand now. She looked at Hannah's grimacing face and realized the president is fuming. Suyin stood up and coldly reminded Jineng, Mr. Park, I'm sure you haven't forgotten the agreement between yourself and the Blue Wolf Association. You have committed an offense by failing to control your personal emotions and daring to recklessly disgrace the reputation of my association. You are permanently expelled from the Blue Wolf Association, effective immediately. Immediately, a painful, hacking cough echoed incessantly, cough, cough. Not stopping there, Suyin continued to hand down another punishment. We will be fining you for the damages you've caused to the association's reputation. So I advise you to hold on to your money instead of squandering it. Seora lowered her eyes, thinking in astonishment, so ruthless. Then, Suyin turned and bowed towards Seora. Once again, I sincerely apologize to you for the offense we have caused. Seora forced a smile and stammered, Oh, it's okay. I don't think there's anything you need to apologize for. She looked down at Jineng, who was unconscious on the floor, and asked, but he's not dead, right? Suyin immediately explained, he's an A-rank hunter. He should be able to withstand that level of damage. He pushed up his glasses and continued, besides, Guild Master Ayu Suun is nearby, so there's nothing to worry about. She looks like this, but she's the only S-rank healer in Korea. Seora gave an incredibly awkward smile. She thought to herself, so that's why he disciplined Jineng so ruthlessly. I knew it. S-ranks aren't normal. All right. At this moment, Hannah suddenly spoke up. All right, so this is what the association plans to do with Par G9. According to the disciplinary regulations for awakened individuals, A-rank Hunter Park G9, who obstructed justice and assaulted a public official, will be subject to a fine of 300 million won and 720 hours of the Awakened Behavior Adjustment Program. Furthermore, his hunter's license will be confiscated for 5 years, effectively suspending his license. Seora stroked her chin thoughtfully. Because I didn't suffer any major harm, it would be too harsh to punish him for assault. This is probably the heaviest punishment the president can impose. However, she still seemed unsatisfied. Hannah frowned and continued angrily. And because he showed no remorse, I've decided on an additional penalty of 3 years of probation under the association's supervision and a 10-year restraining order against Ms. Yun Seora. After hearing the full extent of the punishment, Jineng began to panic, pleading with Hannah, President, please have mercy. Without my hunter's license, my life is over. Suyin coldly told him, even if your license wasn't revoked, your life would still be over. He paused, then continued, the moment you step out of this building, news of your expulsion from the Blue Wolf Association will spread. Once that happens, do you think any other guild out there will take you in? Jinayang's eyes widened, and he let out a frightened ugh. Hannah called out, guards, get this thing out of here. Jinayang still didn't give up, continuing to plead with Hannah, President, Guild Master. He reached out desperately and cried, please forgive me this once. Please. Hannah looked at Sora and assured her, well, that bastard won't be bothering you anymore. You can relax now. Seora bowed her head and sincerely thanked the two in front of her. Thank you both for your consideration. Suyin also bowed his head in return. It was simply my duty as a guild master. Junayang smiled at her. Likewise, Ms. Yun. I only did what was necessary as your bodyguard, so please don't dwell on it too much. Seora stood up to leave. Well then, if you'll excuse me. However, Suyin suddenly called out to her. Ms. Yun Seora. Seora replied, puzzled, yes, sir. Suyin searched for something in his breast pocket and said, please wait a moment. There's something I want to give you. Seora smiled, of course. A moment later, she was finally able to leave. Seora breathed a sigh of relief. Phew, it's really over. Looking at the business card in her hand, she muttered, a business card with Guild Master Han Suyin's personal number. I didn't expect him to give me anything so valuable. Then, Sora wearily walked away. I'll check it out when I get back to my desk. What a tiring morning. Back in the room, Hannah spoke to Suyin. Now that Seora is gone, we should wrap things up as well. Suyin replied, yes, ma'am. Hannah, looking bored, put a cigarette in her mouth. She continued, so, I trust you're ready to face the consequences, aren't you, Han Suyin? Now, inside the closed-off room, Suyin touched his swollen cheek and listened as Hannah scolded him. Remember, you got off lightly because you managed to contain the situation. She issued a warning. From now on, you need to keep a closer eye on your subordinates. Suyin lowered his head and affirmed, I won't tolerate anyone interfering in my affairs. I'll take every precaution to ensure this doesn't happen again. He then fell silent. A moment later, Suyin's voice, laced with suspicion, spoke up again. By the way, Mizyun clearly seemed to be S-rank. Hannah, also puzzled, said, "Do you think she reawakened while she was in the dungeon?" Suyin immediately dismissed the speculation. "That was the first hypothesis I came up with, but it seems impossible. If she had reawakened, there's no way she could have passed as a regular F rank and fooled all the S ranks she met today. Unless she made a contract with a supreme being." Hannah added, "If that were true, my entity would have detected it, but there was absolutely no reaction." Suyin affirmed, "Mine neither. It must mean she cleared the dungeon purely out of luck." He continued, "I started to get suspicious when I saw the wound on Park Jinayang's face." Hannah asked, puzzled, "Wound?" Suyin recounted Jinayang's state when he last saw him. "Yes, I saw it when he returned after meeting Ms. Yun here. He didn't even realize he was injured, even though it was quite deep. I also noticed his behavior was a bit off, which is why I became suspicious." Suyin sat down and continued, "It hasn't been long since Ms. Yun went through an overwhelming situation. At that moment, Junayang spoke up, defending Seora. She might still be dealing with the aftereffects of the trauma, so I suggest everyone refrain from unnecessary curiosity." Suyin immediately bowed his head and apologized. "Yes, my mistake." Hannah agreed with Junayang's decision. "All right, we're done here." She stubbed out her cigarette and speculated, "By the way, I heard Soon and EG stopped by. As far as I know, they might still be around this area." Then, to the astonishment of the other two, she extended an invitation. "Since all 5S ranks are here, why don't we have dinner together?" Hannah pulled out a card and laughed heartily. "What do you say? I'm good with anything. It's on me, so relax and tell me what you want to eat." Junayang turned away, thinking fearfully, "This is bad." Suyin replied, "Yes, sir." At that moment, a news alert popped up on the notification window. Here's the hot scoop on how little Suyin got assaulted XD. Seora, shocked by the news, exclaimed, "Huh?" Then Seora yelled, "No way. What the heck? When did this happen?" She asked worriedly, "But he was fine when I was at the office. Did something happen after I left?" In front of Seora was an article with a shocking title. Here's the hot scoop on how Suyin got assaulted XD. I just stopped by the association and saw little Suyin all bruised up. Attached to the article was a picture of Suyin with half his face swollen. The writer continued to express their feelings. Lin Suyun, don't forget to ice that pretty face of yours so it doesn't bruise. I hear they're quite helpful. After reading, Seora immediately broke out in a cold sweat. Oh, I get it. Aunt Hannah must have hit him. What shame for such a handsome face to get beaten up like that. On the forum, many people expressed their surprise at the news. They couldn't believe they'd ever see little Soo-yun's face so messed up. I'm glad I stopped by the association today. His face is still intact after being hit by Great Tiger. I told you, Han Soo-yun is a monster too. I bet Great Tiger went easy on him. Seora said, I can't believe the amount of trouble Jin Aiyong causes everyone. And Han Soo-yun ended up becoming a laughingstock among the S ranks just because of a problematic subordinate. On the forum, a cold comment from Soo-yun suddenly appeared. Han Soo-yun, you guys having fun? Other users like Lady Sunset, Alpha of the Defenders, and Eternal Salvation all responded with boisterous laughter. Only Hannah said, sorry, Soo-yun. Seora looked away at the business card. When I met him, he seemed very kind and polite. At that moment, the system window suddenly displayed an extremely angry emoticon. Seora glanced at it and said, puzzled, oh, come on. Why do you keep appearing and getting angry every time I think about Soo-yun? Finally, she compromised. Fine, I won't look at this anymore. Seora tapped on the shop icon and thought, I'll just go to sleep after checking the discounted items I'm selling in the shop. The system window displayed a notification. The Giant's Core and Werewolf's Claw in the shop have been sold. Hearing this, Seora exclaimed joyfully, everything's sold. I can't believe I'm this lucky. I even sold them for higher than market price. She looked at the amount of money she had and became even more delighted. I never thought I'd make this much. With this money, I'll be able to get better equipment. The administrator suddenly sent an emoticon. Seeing this, Seora excitedly said, oh, you want to help? Let's look into them together then. Resting her chin in her hand, she asked cheerfully, okay, I already have 2 weapons. What other equipment should I buy? The system displayed a status. Searching. A series of items continuously appeared before Seora. A-rank invisibility necklace, special ability, grants the user invisibility. A-rank Hermes anklet, special ability, grants the user the haste skill. Support ability, increases the user's movement speed. Siora exclaimed in surprise. Awesome. These are perfect. It would be great to have an invisibility item since I'm a ranged attacker. The anklet is a bit expensive, but it's worth it. I'll buy these two now. Immediately, the necklace and anklet appeared in Siora's hands. She put the necklace around her neck and said, "Finally, I can use the high-level shop whenever I want." Her eyes sparkling, she cupped her face and asked the system, "I still have some money left. What else should I buy?" "Oh, are you finding me something new again?" But when she saw the new item appear, Siora exclaimed in astonishment. Huh? This time the item was a cloak. L-rank regeneration cloak, special ability. Halves damage taken from attacks of the same type. Support ability. Grants invisibility to the user and doubles attack power for 10 minutes when stamina drops to 20% or lower. Siora asked in surprise, "Huh? What is this? Regeneration cloak? Does that mean I won't get hurt when other ranged attackers hit me if I wear this?" She mused, "With this, I could reduce the damage from other ranged attackers, especially those with higher attack power than mages and swordsmen." A half star. This is basically an item of a completely different class. Siora's eyes widened in excitement. I wonder how much it costs. Upon seeing the price, Siora started to panic. Wait, how many zeros are there? No way, 80 billion. She was shocked speechless by the cloak's price. I didn't even make 20 million today. She thought despairingly. Siora stroked her chin, starting to calculate how to buy the cloak. At my pay rate, it would take years to buy this. What if someone buys it first? Maybe I'll be able to buy it someday, if I really grind. She slumped onto the table and said sadly to the system, "Admin, why did you show me this amazing thing? Do you know how painful it is to not be able to afford something you really want?" The admin only sent a smiling face. Siora pouted. "You're mean. How can you laugh now? Are you making fun of me?" Tears welling up, she said, "You're so selfish, admin." At that moment, a message appeared on the notification window. Admin holds deep affection for the player. Siora exclaimed in confusion. The system stated, "Admin is bestowing a gift upon the sole contracted player." Siora said curiously, "A gift box." She approached and slowly opened the gift box. "What is this?" Immediately, a series of notifications popped up. Regeneration cloak has been stored in your inventory. Siora's eyes widened. "It's the regeneration cloak," she said in surprise. Then, she laughed loudly, excitedly asking, "Admin, are you really giving me this high-level item?" By now, Siora was moved to tears by the gift. "Even if I become S rank, I probably would never be able to buy this. Are you sure I can have this? Even after I just called you all those names?" The admin responded with a smile. Siora hugged the cloak tightly and shouted, "Oh my god, I love it, admin." She tried it on and affirmed, "It's so light and soft, I barely feel a thing. Plus, it's super durable, so it won't rip easily. Thank you so much. I'll treasure it." She wiped away her tears and said with utmost sincerity, "I really like it, admin." Looking at the neatly hung cloak, Siora thought happily. There's always been a small empty space in my heart, but knowing that someone cares for me this much makes me feel whole. Something I haven't felt in a long time. She mused, maybe that's why that night I dreamt of someone gently stroking my hair. I know it was probably just a dream, but it felt so soft and affectionate. Siora, fast asleep, loud a small sound. She thought, touched, so much so that I cried. The scene shifted to inside the cafeteria. Hyrand narrowed her eyes, silently observing Siora. "Seriously, you've been acting strange these days." She looked at Siora and affirmed, "You've been smiling nonstop, even during work. It must be something amazing. Siora, do you mind sharing this joy with me?" Siora immediately refused her. I don't want to. I want to keep this joy to myself." She thought to herself, "I can't say it's because the administrator gave me an 80 billion won cloak. On top of that, the administrator helped me awaken to S rank, gave me an S rank weapon, L rank equipment, and even protects me. Is this what it feels like to have black credit?" Siora's expression quickly changed. She pursed her lips, looking extremely sad. "But I can't receive all of this without giving anything back. I want to stay with the administrator as long as possible, but I've only been receiving without repaying anything. He'll get bored and leave me. I don't want to think about that at all." Suddenly, the administrator appeared, surprising Siora. She exclaimed internally, "Administrator." Covering her face, she shyly reminded him, Please don't read my thoughts without permission again." Seeing Sora's continuous strange actions, Hyran fearfully thought, I should really tell Dujun about her. I'm a little worried. Suddenly, a loud alarm interrupted their thoughts. Seora immediately recognized the sound. That alarm isn't a new dungeon appearing, but it sounded a bit unusual. A red notification immediately appeared. Urgent! A dungeon has just appeared in Sul Forest. It's a blue gate, confirmed as a rank 2 dungeon. All dungeon management personnel and national response teams in the area assemble immediately. Seora stood up abruptly, exclaiming in surprise, a rank 2 dungeon. Rank 2 dungeons are one of the most difficult dungeons to clear, so much so that even S-rank hunters are put in dangerous situations. That's why they rarely appear, but this has happened in Korea 3 times already. The first rank 2 dungeon appeared here 12 years ago. She recalled, that was when my parents went on the raid, but they couldn't return. Seora pursed her lips, reminding herself, no, I need to get rid of these strange thoughts. I'm not like before anymore. Hyren hurriedly urged her, let's go. We need to get to the management office immediately. Seora immediately agreed, okay. As she walked forward, she anxiously asked, Administrator, everything will be all right? After seeing the administrator's expression, Seora felt suspicious. Huh? That expression looks a bit suspicious. She ran quickly forward, thinking to herself, I don't know if he's trying to look worried or nonchalant. Does he mean something's going to happen, but it won't be too risky? Seeing the administrator's expression, Seora exclaimed, oh, it seems like I was right. She thought with utmost confidence. At least, the administrator never lies about things like this. This led Seora to a guess. I guess I can worry a little less. Elsewhere, a voice filled with surprise suddenly rang out. A rank 2 dungeon. Huh? Hannah coldly continued. It brings back some painful memories, but it's not as bad as the rank 2 dungeon we encountered in the past. Hearing this, Seora asked her in surprise, you participated in the raid too, President? Hannah looked at her and explained, huh? No, I only went to examine it more closely. I can't be entirely sure because I only assessed it based on what I could see. Seora still felt incredibly anxious, but Ando and the other high-ranking hunters from the Undying Guild and the Protection Guild shouldn't have any trouble raiding this dungeon. Hannah reassured her, so we don't need to worry too much. By the way, Ms. Ian, Seora looked up and replied, yes. Hannah gestured to her. We need to talk to you for a bit. At this, Seora's surprised voice rang out. What? You wanted to go to that rank 2 gate right now? She asked again in disbelief. Hannah explained, you won't actually have to enter the gate. We just need you to deliver this. This is Du Junaiong's S-rank weapon. Seora exclaimed in astonishment, an S-rank weapon? Don't tell me he forgot to bring it with him. She took the weapon from Hannah and asked worriedly, how could he just rush into a dungeon without his gear? He's not the type to make a mistake like this. Hannah calmly explained, normally, he keeps this in his inventory, but he just left it here due to an order. You're the only one who knows Junaiong is pretending to be an A-rank hunter, and we can't leave headquarters in case something happens. Seora confidently assured her, all right, I'll make sure to deliver it to him personally. Before she left, Hannah added one more instruction. Remember, you need to come back right after giving it to him. Seora immediately replied, understood. She hugged the weapon case tightly and tried to run as fast as she could. I never thought things would end up like this. I've always been told about how terrifying and dreadful a rank 2 dungeon can be. Seora smiled to herself, thinking, I wanted to stay hidden because everyone still thinks I'm an F rank. But maybe I can use this as an opportunity to see if I can also survive in that dungeon. I followed the energy pulses to reach the rank 2 dungeon in Sul Forest. Seora looked at the scene before her in astonishment. It's much bigger than any gate I've ever seen before, and I could feel the energy pulses even from a great distance. She suddenly realized, it feels like I'm standing before a monster. If I were still F rank, I wouldn't be able to withstand this terrifying pressure. So this is a rank 2 dungeon. Seora thought, seeing it directly like this, it feels horrifying. It would be strange if an unnoticed F rank hunter wasn't fazed by a rank 2 dungeon. I should pretend to be scared. After muttering to herself, she started looking around, feigning a bewildered expression. Oh, where could Mr. Du be? Mr. Du, a voice suddenly called out, excuse me. Seora gasped in surprise. Yoon stepped forward, saying, I think I can help you. Seeing him, she stammered, G-Guild, Guild Master of the Undying Guild. At the same time, she thought to herself, I didn't think the Guild Master of the Undying Guild, one of the top guilds in Korea, would be such a handsome man. While she was lost in thought, Yoon suddenly looked at the case she was holding. Is that Du Junaiong's weapon? Seora replied, ah yes. The president asked me to deliver it to him. Yoon nodded, I understand. He extended his hand in a friendly gesture. Thank you for bringing it. seeing someone else stepping into danger in her place. Siora hurriedly offered the box with both hands, saying, "Thank you, Guildmaster. Please stay safe inside the dungeon." Hearing her words, Yoon gave a bright smile and replied, "Don't worry, I'll make sure the raid is a success for everyone's safety." Watching his back as he walked away, Siora's girlish heart pounded, her face flushing. How can someone be so elegant and radiant? When the administrator sent a dumbfounded emoticon, she, still love-struck, said, "He truly is a charming gentleman, just as I'd expect from the guild master of one of Korea's top guilds." Hearing this, the administrator sent an angry emoticon. Siora asked in surprise, "Huh? Why are you suddenly angry, administrator?" After asking, she thought, "Sometimes I can't tell what he's thinking because he can only communicate with emoticons." Then she said, "We should talk somewhere else." Taking a step forward, Siora suddenly stopped, thinking to herself, a rank 2 dungeon appearing for the first time in 12 years. This is an ideal opportunity to test my new abilities now that I'm rank S. She turned her head towards the gate, wondering, I wonder if I'll be able to control it or not. Just then, a staff member approached her and said, "Excuse me, please evacuate this area immediately. It's not safe." Siora gave a forced smile and replied, "Oh, all right." Disappointed, she thought, but it's happening again. It's so hard to do anything when there are so many people around. Seeing the administrator send an emoticon, she wondered in surprise, Is he telling me to go somewhere? After following the administrator's guidance, Siora arrived at a secluded spot and looked up at the gate above, exclaiming, "Wow, I have a perfect view of the gate from here. How did you know about this great spot, administrator? Look at how the gate is shifting open. Everyone must have gone inside already." She smiled, thinking, I didn't think I'd get to try out this cloak so soon, since invisibility is a basic function of this L rank equipment. So no one will be able to detect me unless they're rank S. Finishing that thought, she began to calculate. The raid team this time has 4 S ranks, including Mr. Do, and 5 A ranks, including the Defense Guild's vice captain. Moreover, Guild Master Yoon is unofficially ranked 2nd in strength, so I'm certain the raid won't encounter any obstacles. Her tone suddenly shifted. But if somehow this raid fails, the consequences won't just be a few casualties. A rank 2 dungeon has the potential to quickly escalate into a disaster for any nation. If I were still rank F, I'd be back at headquarters, trembling in fear. She asked, "Administrator, is there any way to stop the gates from appearing at the same time? I know you can control them, but can you make them stop appearing altogether?" The administrator sent a crying emoticon. Disappointed, she asked, "Is that impossible even for you?" At the same time, she thought, that means the gates are appearing beyond the administrator's control, and the administrator can't completely manipulate all of them. Come to think of it, when we first met in the rank 3 dungeon, the administrator only created a shield, and in the rank 4 dungeon, they stopped the gate's mana from leaking out. So what exactly are these gates? Where do the dungeon entrances lead to? And the administrator, what kind of being are they? As these tangled thoughts filled her head, a message suddenly appeared in front of the chat window. Administrator is assisting the player entering the rank 2 dungeon. Siora said in surprise, "What? You're giving me another gift." A notification popped up. Item absorption gloves has been stored in your inventory. Siora asked doubtfully, "Absorption gloves?" Immediately, its information appeared. Absorption gloves, rank S, glove type, special ability, completely absorbs the recoil of firearms. After putting them on, she exclaimed, "Whoa." The content on the notification board suddenly changed. Permanent support ability, immune to damage due to the administrator's protection. Note, the administrator has designed these gloves specifically for the player, making them unique. Seeing that, Siora lightly shook her wrists, thinking to herself, first a rifle, then a cloak, and now these gloves. The invisibility cloak was already amazing, but now they even made these gloves for me. It's unbelievable. She then said, "I'm really happy to have you in this contract, but if you keep showering me with gifts like this, you'll spoil me." The administrator sent a smiley face, which surprised Siora a little that you're okay with that. How can that be? It's not like you're my parent or anything. After saying that, she thought, still, I'm really happy. She muttered, "Well, I guess it's time for me to go in." Then she continued thinking, I have a rank L cloak, a rank S weapon, and unique rank S gloves. Even if this is a rank 2 dungeon, I have nothing to be afraid of. As she entered the portal, a notification appeared. Rank 2 dungeon, Ayan Sura, an awakened, has entered the cradle of the hook-tailed snakes. After a while, Siora stepped over a puddle, leaving behind the corpses of the hook-tailed snakes. She muttered, "The raid team came this way, right? These must be venomous snakes. I'd better put on my gas mask." She put on her gas mask and looked down at the corpses. Judging by the bodies, it seems the team went that way, but this place feels more like a snake's den than a cradle. Whoa, that's crazy. They have hooks under their tails. I wonder if that's why they're called hook-tailed snakes. Siora widened her eyes. They're so big and poisonous. She immediately thought, but still, most of them have been wiped out. Seriously, S-ranks are ridiculously strong. These snakes cut so cleanly in one blow. Must have been killed by Mr. Du. And the ones riddled with arrows must have been taken care of by Guild Master Yoon, Korea's top archer. The overwhelming number of arrows he shoots is amazing. I wonder what skill he uses. It makes me curious about how he fights, since I'm an archer too. Thinking this, Siora also started walking forward. Suddenly, she flinched and screamed internally, Something just fell from the sky. After seeing it, Siora was even more surprised. In a way, is that a hook-tailed snake? No, wait, it's an egg. Siora stepped closer, observing as she spoke. The shell looks so soft. Was it just laid? That means the snake that laid this egg is very close. As soon as she finished speaking, a snake's head lowered, staring intently at her. Siora cursed under her breath. Damn it. I completely forgot that snakes are so good at concealing their presence. And to make things worse, the hook isn't just on their tail, but also on their tongue. One attack could be fatal. Seeing the snake's tongue lash out, Siora quickly dodged to the side. Da-da! She recoiled, her heart pounding that I dodged it. With that thought, Siora quietly retreated, muttering, "This dungeon is only one rank higher than the werewolf dungeon, but it's much more dangerous. I don't want to fight here and be seen by others, so I'll withdraw." At that moment, a chill ran down her spine. A red notification window appeared. Warning, the boss monster of the Rank 2 dungeon, Cradle of the Hook-Tailed Snake, is about to hatch. Seeing the notification, Siora thought in astonishment. Well, what? She turned her head, wondering, the boss monster is about to hatch? The egg the hook-tailed snake is protecting is glowing, but Siora didn't pay attention to it. Her eyes widened as she said, "So that means the boss monster is being born right now. But where?" Only then did she notice the egg. Wait a minute, could it be that the boss monster is about to hatch from that egg? The dungeon began to shake continuously. Siora thought tensely. Speaking of which, I just realized that snake is trying to protect the egg. Does that mean the boss monster, the golden egg, is starting to move, about to hatch from that egg? As she thought this, the egg suddenly exploded, making Siora break out in a cold sweat. She screamed internally in terror, no. But from within the egg, what crawled out wasn't a terrifying monster, but a small, golden hook-tailed snake. Seeing it so small and weak, Siora was a little surprised, her head full of question marks. That's the boss. I could even take it down without using my gun. All right, I'll have to kill it before it has a chance to grow. Thinking this, she aimed her gun at it. With sharp senses, the mother snake glared at her with fierce eyes, and then slammed its tail into the spot where she was standing. Siora hurriedly jumped out of the way. Ugh. She quickly retreated several meters, thinking, so strong, as if I didn't know it was a rank 2 dungeon monster. Not giving her a chance to attack, the mother snake lunged at her with its sharp tail. Thanks to her agility, she dodged the attack with a slight sidestep. She carefully considered, it knows exactly when I'm about to attack. Oh, one thing after another. At this rate, I won't be able to kill the boss. Preoccupied with the mother snake, she suddenly realized, did it just move? Indeed, the baby snake was now safely growing, radiating a powerful light, quickly transforming into a true monster with a large body and fangs. The system displayed a red notification. Warning, the level of the boss monster, hook-tailed snake, is reaching a dangerous level. A roaring sound echoed, shaking the dungeon walls and causing debris to rain down. Seeing its growth rate, Siora said fearfully, how is it growing so fast? The system blinked red. Hook-tailed snake has evolved and reached the fiend level. Warning, the energy of the fiend level boss monster has exceeded the capacity of the rank 2 dungeon. The dungeon is rapidly fracturing, having grown so quickly, with its inherent power increasing dramatically. How could anything withstand it? Siora stood before the smoke, thick with a monster's energy, filled with dread. It's reached fiend level, and the dungeon's about to collapse? She thought, this can't be happening. As far as she knew, fiends were a level above ordinary monsters. Unlike the bloodthirsty instincts of typical monsters, fiends possessed reason and superior intelligence. Her hand unconsciously tightened around her gun, her mind racing. I wondered why this dungeon was called the Cradle of Snakes instead of the Snake's Lair. It really has become a place where a boss monster is born and nurtured. The fiend-level snake seemed no longer concerned with her presence in the dungeon. It slithered its massive body past her. Sensing something was wrong, she yelled, "No, wait. It's heading straight for the gate." She realized, if that thing gets through, everyone outside will be in danger. Panicked, she shouted, "Administrator, please close the gate now." The administrator appeared on the notification board with an expression of utter bewilderment. Can't even the administrator control the dungeon's collapse? Siora wondered, confused. The mother snake suddenly lunged, its jaws wide, dripping with venom, attempting to attack her to stop her from hindering the fiend-level snake's escape. However, Siora easily dodged the attack unscathed. She stored her pistol and thought, the raid team should have received the warning by now, but they're still not here. They must be encountering some obstacles. In that case, with that thought, she grabbed the snake's tail. With the strength of an S-rank hunter, she lifted the enormous tail without much effort, her eyes filled with determination. "Don't get in my way," she roared, and using the barbed tip of the tail, she stabbed it into the mother snake's body, inflicting a fatal wound. Purple blood gushed out like a waterfall. As a mother snake thrashed in its death throes, Siora was flung away. Whoa. The system displayed, Mother Hook-tailed Snake defeated, accompanied by the administrator's satisfied thumbs-up emoticon. Siora, somehow thrown clear out of the dungeon, clutched her head, dazed. Regaining her senses, she stared at the scene before her in disbelief. Oh no, the boss got out not long ago. But how can it cause this much destruction already? The fiend-level snake was rampaging, destroying the surrounding buildings. People were fleeing in panic, while lower-ranked hunters struggled to hold it back. Siora couldn't believe her eyes. This is the true power of a fiend-level monster. Looking down at the hunters below, she noticed it looks like everyone's mana is being drained and they're exhausted. They won't be able to hold out much longer. After assessing the situation, Siora quickly devised a counterattack. Looking up at the tall tree beside her, she thought attacking it here might cause more damage to this place. I should move to a higher vantage point first. In a blink, she leaped onto a branch, a flicker of daring in her heart. This will be my first time using the new skill I acquired after reaching S rank. Getting into a firing position, she reassured herself, but I can easily visualize how I'll use it. Once confident enough, she didn't hesitate. Activate skill, territorial expansion. As soon as she finished speaking, the system displayed a notification. Activating skill, territorial expansion. A red, cubic magic barrier is enveloping the boss's head. The system continued to blink. Area setup complete. Initiating temporary dominion over designated area. The strange sight startled the hunters present, causing them to tremble and exclaim, "What's happening?" A blue system message appeared. HIT is reacting to the skill territorial expansion, amplifying destructive power and accuracy. The boss's head seemed to become immobile. The system added, "HIT's projectiles will transform as needed." Feeling the conditions were met, Siora commanded, "Fire." Energy surged from the gun, following her command. A deadly beam pierced straight through the boss's head, shattering it. The deafening explosion forced everyone present to cover their ears. The fiend-level boss, its head destroyed, lost its balance and plummeted. Witnessing the scene, a hunter stammered, what the hell?" Another beside him exclaimed, "Oh my god, no way, this is impossible." His face was etched with disbelief. The system announced, Rank 2 dungeon, fiend-level boss, Hook-tailed Snake has been defeated. Highest contributor, Anonymous, Rank S. You are the first player to solo a Rank 2 dungeon fiend-level boss. Seeing this notification, Siora was utterly astonished. That's insane. She became flustered. Reaching S rank obviously increases your power, but I just really took down a fiend-level monster with one shot? Am I dreaming? Was it the weapon's effect, or was it a skill? She wondered, looking at the gun in her hand as if it were a precious treasure. Whatever it is, one thing's for sure. I've become an incredibly powerful hunter. A thrill of joy ran through her that I've advanced so quickly. The system informed her, "You have achieved a remarkable feat. The reward for this achievement is poison resistance, rank S. You have received the item, Poison Tipped Hook. You have received the item, Hook-tailed Snake Core." Seeing this, Siora excitedly opened her inventory. Wow, my inventory is filling up fast. She couldn't help but exclaim internally, I can't believe my inventory is piling up with such expensive items. And on top of that, I even got poison resistance. What a steal. Despite her excitement, she couldn't deny a growing unease. Still, she thought, if this gets out, people will probably expect even more from me. I still can't believe the rank 2 dungeon boss was a fiend-level monster. That brings back some painful memories. This won't do. I really need to quit this job. She landed softly. All right, I'll tell them as soon as I get back. It's a good thing I can explain that I was near the rank 2 dungeon today. Suddenly, she stopped, a sense of unease washing over her. She turned back anxiously and saw a man who had seemingly appeared out of nowhere, staring intently at her. Frightened, she thought, I'm pretty sure someone's staring at me right now. Somewhat. I haven't even deactivated my stealth skill yet. The man continued to frown at her. Confused, she wondered, isn't he looking at me? Panicked, she thought, isn't he looking right at me? I'm still stealthed. This is impossible. Is he so strong that my stealth doesn't even work on him? Even if he can see me, the gas mask should make it harder for him to identify my face. Because of my job, I've memorized the personal information of many top hunters, but I've never seen him before. Who is he? Realizing that further contemplation wouldn't solve anything, she decided to flee. I should get out of here. I need to get back to the association before the S-rank hunters. Just then, a light from the rank 2 gate shone down on the ground. Soon, having just set foot on the road, exclaimed in astonishment, what the? The fiend-level boss appearing was crazy enough, but I didn't think it would be demoted even after we showed up. Hansio stammered, stunned by the boss's corpse. Who could have blown the fiend's head to pieces like this? Soon calmly analyzed the situation. The only ones who could do that are the chairman or Sung Jinwoo. But the problem is, neither of them are here. She also calmly observed, it looks like this was done by one person, and with a single blow. Still in shock, Hansio questioned, everyone saw that message pop up after the boss died, right? Suun confirmed, right? I'm pretty sure it said something about an anonymous S rank. Do you think it was that man? The one we barely have any information on, the S rank who went overseas right after he awakened. Yoon Iong quickly countered, the Athena Guild Master isn't lenient enough to let him come back here anytime, especially when it's not an emergency. Suun disagreed, asking, if a rank 2 gate appearing isn't an emergency, then what is? Yoon Iong added, even if he was sent, he couldn't have gotten here this fast. The hunter guarding the gate and his assistant ran up to them. Oh, you're finally out. Yoon Iong seriously asked him, what happened here? Can you tell me who took down this monster? The hooded hunter, his face pale, replied, We don't know either. The hunter beside him began to recount. It was a skill we've never seen before. Some red cubic shapes formed around the boss's head and blew it away right after. It was a terrifying sight. It might even be stronger than the chairman's skills. Yoon Iong, finding it absurd, said that's impossible. Because everyone knows Chairman Song Hana's ability is fire elemental power. Its potential is enough to capture and incinerate enemies with a single blow. But what if there's a skill even stronger than that? The hunter nervously replied, there's a chance that the current S ranks could be completely overturned. That skill, it's on a different level now. Yoon Iong suspiciously requested, please extract the footage from the hidden cameras in the area. We need to track this person, see if they're unregistered or reawakened. Suddenly, a blunt voice cut in, no, you should give up. You won't find any trace of that person using just cameras. A wave of pressure descended, causing even an S-rank hunter like Suun to exclaim, what the hell? Hansio also unconsciously echoed, huh? Yoon Iong and Suun looked at the newcomer with apprehension. They thought everything around him is completely overshadowed by that overwhelming power, and he's stronger than anything we've ever witnessed. Suun, losing her composure, shouted, who are you? Yoon Iong quickly intervened. Guild Master Suun, please calm down. Suun said, sorry about that. We just got back from the raid, so we're a bit on edge. Please understand. If you don't mind, could you tell me your name? He replied, a little displeased, I'm Kong Sejun. I'm sure the S ranks here have already sensed it, so I'll get straight to the point. The one who defeated that fiend-level monster was a woman. She was concealed with an L-rank equipment, so searching for her with surveillance cameras is pointless. Suun tilted her head skeptically. How do we know you didn't kill it and are pretending otherwise? Suun said, you didn't see what she looked like? Sejun shook his head in annoyance. replying, "Why would I lie about something the S ranks can investigate immediately?" She was wearing a gas mask. Besides, I'm the one who wants to ask you something. I swear that woman came out of the gate right after the boss. Soon immediately felt something was wrong. No, we were the only ones who participated in the raid. Yoon Iong pieced the information together. If that woman was concealed with L-rank equipment, the hunters outside the gate wouldn't have noticed because none of them are S-rank. He thought that regeneration robe is a high-level equipment possessed by only a select few, and that mysterious woman had one. Sejun sighed in disappointment. I asked because I thought you might know something, but it seems I've wasted my time. With that, he turned to leave. If I'd known this, I would have rather searched for her myself. Yoon Iong quickly called out to stop Sejun from leaving. Please wait a moment. I'm Yoon Iong, a senior manager of the association's management department. I have to ask, but are you an awakened officially registered with the association? Sejun said with a bored expression, TSK, I knew this was coming. Yes, but I was only a rank before. Yoon Iong cautiously added, in that case, I must request you to undergo a reassessment. He internally assessed he can't be A rank now. If his power surpasses even S rank, he could be a key figure capable of shifting the world's power dynamics. He must be brought into the association at all costs. Sejun had to reply, okay, let's go now. Yoon Iong looked at his three companions and said, you three can go back now. Suyeon looked reluctant. She said, I'm dying of curiosity, and you're telling us to go back? Hurry up and lead the way. I have to see the results of the evaluation with my own eyes. Hanseo raised his hand that I have to admit, I'm quite curious myself. Soon spoke up cheerfully. Well then, let's go. Yoon Iong held his head in exasperation. Even you, Guild Master Soon? Returning to headquarters just in time, Seora breathed a sigh of relief. Phew, that was close. She opened her inventory. Are you sure you want to store this item? Yes/no. She pressed yes. The administrator appeared with an elated expression. She said, Administrator, you could have told me it would only take one hit to defeat that fiend-level boss. Her voice held a hint of reproach. With that kind of power, the whole community is going to be talking about it for a long time. The administrator sent her a soothing emoticon. She said angrily, you comforting me now doesn't make me feel any better. The administrator replied with a displeased emoticon. She guessed, oh, are you upset? Then, she quickly tried to appease him with sweet words that I mean, I'm not blaming you, administrator. I'm just saying it would have been nice if you'd warned me beforehand. Hearing this, the administrator sent her a pleased emoticon. She thought to herself, so easy. She smiled happily. I didn't think he'd cheer up so quickly. I have to admit, he's pretty cute. She said, now that I've stored everything in the inventory, shall we go back? The administrator quickly sent her an emoticon showing agreement. Seora entered the office and met Senna, who had covered for her. Senna said, you're back. She greeted her, Chairman. I gave Mr. Do's weapon to the Guild Master of the Undying Guild. What happened with the dungeon? Hannah replied. It was successfully raided before you returned. The raid team will be here soon. She feigned surprise. What? I just left them not long ago. How? How could it be finished so quickly? The system sent a surprised emoticon at her acting. Hannah also replied, puzzled, we'll ask Du about that. He said he'd be returning with a guest and that I'd be surprised. Needless to say, I'm very curious. A nearby staff member announced, Chairman, they're here. She nodded, then asked, the ability evaluation room just opened, right? Seora wondered to herself, the ability evaluation room. Isn't that where a hunter's rank is assessed? Is that guest? Is it someone who just awakened? The administrator gave her a head-patting emoticon. She was a little confused, wondering to herself, what's this? Did something just happen? The administrator sent an emoticon indicating it was difficult to explain. She asked in a panic, why are you running away? Who was that guest? Who could make the administrator react like this? What should I do? Should I run away too? Her eyes looked down to the lobby and suddenly saw June and Eong returning with Seojun. Her cheeks flushed woe. Not long after admiring the handsome man, she suddenly remembered. Wait a minute. Seora blinked, so startled that she almost blurted out loud. So the guy who caught me near the Soul Forest Gate earlier is also the one visiting the association? As if suddenly realizing something, Seora narrowed her eyes and turned to the system in her head, her voice full of suspicion. Administrator, is he the reason you're feeling uneasy? The administrator sent an emoticon that basically screamed, bingo. Seora sighed inwardly. Then you should have told me as soon as you saw him. She then quickly ran off, leaving Hannah staring after her in bewilderment. Reaching Hyun's side, Seora was panting, trying to reassure herself. What are the odds of running into him here of all places? He probably didn't recognize me because I was wearing a gas mask, right? Please let that be true. But contrary to Seora's panic, Hyun was simply gazing dreamily at the handsome man, Seo-jun. She sighed wistfully. Look at that face. Just looking at him heals my soul. Seora frowned, about to ignore her, when Hyun suddenly seemed to realize something, a confused look on her face. But who is he? He looks like some important figure, always surrounded by bodyguards. Hearing this, Seora's eyes widened. Now that you mention it, why did he walk in with those S-rank hunters? At that moment, the system chimed softly, increasing mana sensitivity, allowing for better detection of the target's energy. Seora stared at him, thinking in confusion. Why didn't I notice it during our first encounter? The energy surrounding him is even more overwhelming than Hannah's. Still discreetly observing him, she called out to the system in her mind. Administrator. Who is he? The system appeared. Name, Administrator's contractor, activating. Information on the desired target is now displayed. Awakened information. Name, Kong Seo-jun. Rank, L. Title, Wielder of the Eternal Chains. S rank, Omniscient Sorcerer. L rank, Heal 5 Master. S rank, Stealth a rank. Inept Klutz a rank. Hopeless Romantic. Attribute, Fighting Style. Sorcerer, Fire. Crystal Manipulation, Hourglass of Fate. Special detail, Time Traveler, 5th iteration. After reading the displayed information, Seora was stunned. Wait, he's not only L rank, but also a time traveler? Seriously? She muttered, Administrator, I think there's a glitch. I'm seeing things I shouldn't be seeing. Are you sure you're displaying this correctly? Hourglass of Fate. Special detail. Time Traveler, 5th iteration. Seora glanced at the man before her, thinking in disbelief, this is insane. I mean, our world has already turned into some kind of virtual game space. But time travel? Not just once, but 5 times? That doesn't make any sense. Suddenly, Seo-jun's handsome brows furrowed. The system displayed a crying emoticon. Seora looked at it, confused. Why is it trying to appease me? Is something worse about to happen? Wait, the force field is still working, right? If it works on S-rank hunters, it should work on L-rank too, shouldn't it? While she was still pondering, she noticed Seo-jun's expression darken, an aura of stay away radiating from him. She lamented, oh my god, Administrator, why isn't it working on him? Despite trying to appear calm on the outside, Seora was internally drowning in a sea of tears. My peaceful life is over. If anyone finds out I'm an S-rank awakened, I'm doomed. From now on, I'll play the role of a nobody, hiding my true strength instead of being a public servant. Suddenly, the sound of high heels clicking approached. A voice spoke, so Mr. Du was right. We're welcoming a very special guest. Hannah stepped forward, extending her hand in greeting that it's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Song Hannah, the chairman of the Korean Hunter Association. Seora, seeing Hannah's appearance, thought to herself, yes. Aunt Hannah. Hannah looked at him and continued, it seems we really do need to proceed with a reevaluation. I have a feeling your rank is... She paused for a moment, then continued to speak to him in a friendly manner. I'd be happy to personally escort you to the evaluation room. Would that be all right with you, Mr. Kong Seo-jun? Seora stared at the scene unfolding before her, thinking, Aunt Hannah is calmer than I thought. That level of confidence when facing such a strong hunter is unbelievable. Not everyone is gifted with that kind of charisma. Suddenly, Seo-jun turned to look at Seora and Hyun, his tone casual. Please lead the way. Seora breathed a sigh of relief. Thank goodness, he went with her without any fuss. Even so, I know I can't let my guard down yet. Hyun, on the other hand, was disappointed that she couldn't admire his handsome face anymore. He's gone. Seora's relief was short-lived as she started overthinking. He might ask Aunt Hannah about me when I'm not there. Or what if he knows my identity? He might tell her first. She finally resigned herself to her fate. Every scenario is disastrous. I can't threaten him into silence. Is just waiting for the inevitable my only option? This is so frustrating. The administrator sent a comforting emoticon. Seora waved it away dismissively. Go away. I'm annoyed with you. Don't even try to talk to me. Hearing this, the administrator burst into tears. Seora didn't care, only thinking, anyway, that jerk better keep his mouth shut. After Kong Seo-jun's unexpected visit to the association, a message appeared on the screens of every awakened hunter in Korea. Congratulations. Korea has just welcomed its first L rank awakened. This surprised everyone. Seo-jun's reevaluation results showed that he was L rank. The power of L rank hunters is on par with S rank, making them incredibly rare. With a total of 9 L rank hunters, each representing a unique ability, they contribute to the development of their countries, elevating them to the position of global powerhouses. And now, Korea, with its first L rank hunter, finally stood on equal footing with other global players. A phone rang amidst the rapidly updating news articles. Seora hurriedly picked it up. "Hello, you've reached the Korean Hunter Association. I'm sorry, we cannot disclose any information about the L-rank hunter at this time." Tae-seok watched his phone vibrate incessantly in the office. The phone's ringing off the hook. They're all asking about the L-rank hunter, but we don't have any information either. How did this get out? We're even getting calls from overseas. Seora listened to him, silently exasperated, clinging to the last vestiges of her patience as she continued to answer calls. Suddenly, someone spoke up that, "Oh, right, June. Do you know where Mr. Do is? I need to ask him something." Tae-seok replied, "He's in the chairman's office with the other S-rank hunters from the raid team. I think the L-rank hunter is there too." He shuddered at the thought. Whoa, come to think of it, there's one A-rank hunter for S-rank hunters and the L-rank hunter. The chairman's office isn't going to get destroyed, is it? No. Seora quietly sat and corrected the thought in her head. Actually, there are 5 S-rank hunters, not 4. At that moment, Hien leaned back in her chair tiredly. The communities were buzzing. It was truly chaotic. As if remembering something, Seora hurriedly opened her system. Right? She hadn't checked the community since returning from the Rank 2 dungeon. What were people talking about? A flood of messages popped up. S rank awakened. Where are you? Show us your glory. Why aren't the people at the association answering their phones? I'm starving for information. Warning, graphic image. Did an L rank hunter take down the Rank 2 dungeon boss? After reading the messages, it was exactly as she predicted. Just as she thought, they were talking about the L rank awakened. What's this? She was curious as she read the information. Why aren't the people at the association answering their phones? I'm starving for information. Warning, graphic image. Did an L rank hunter take down the Rank 2 dungeon boss? You guys know about the monster that broke out of the Rank 2 dungeon today, right? At first, it was just a normal dungeon break, but things went haywire when the dungeon was breached. Before anyone could react, the boss monster charged out of the gate. I was scared to death, and then suddenly, this red square appeared. And boom, it blew the monster's head off with a single shot. It looked like a skill, but I've never seen anything like it. As far as I know, none of the S-rank hunters in Korea have a skill like that. But here's the thing. After the boss died, the S-rank hunters who raided the dungeon left, dragging a few other people along with them. And I think that person was the L-rank hunter. Account Song Hannah's lover commented, "What? That thing was the boss. Its head really exploded?" Song Hannah's lover spammed, "What attribute can do that?" Song Hannah's lover suspiciously added, "But can't the chairman do that too? She likes blowing things up with firepower, right?" LOL. Account Han Seon's window wiper replied, "Do you guys remember the Big Tiger fan club always bragging about her being number 1? LOL. Account Han Seon's window wiper, sorry to burst your bubble, but your stocks are about to hit rock bottom. Account Hannah is Queen replied, excluding tier-rank hunters, you should be talking about them using the global ranking. Account Power of the Tiger also joined the conversation. That's crazy. Did an S-rank hunter really do that? Account Leon, please come to Korea. Chiming in, how many L-rank hunters can kill a rank 2 boss in one shot? Almost none of them, right? Account IG, it's a miracle replied. No one's sure it was the L-rank hunter. Don't get ahead of yourselves. Account L-rank hunter is our hero confusedly asked. If the L-rank hunter didn't blow up the monster's head, then who did? Sejun frowned, thinking to himself. So this is what everyone's talking about. Some of them are trying to control Aunt Hannah. Thank goodness the L-rank awakened appeared. Otherwise the community would be flooded with people talking about the rank 2 dungeon. The good news is everyone's convinced that an L-rank hunter defeated the rank 2 boss monster. But I have a feeling this misunderstanding won't last. That L-rank person has a fire mage fighting style, which is completely different from my special ability and attribute. It's only a matter of time before some awakened realizes Kong Sejun didn't kill the boss. Thinking this, Sejun considered the resignation letter he had already prepared. Then he made up his mind. I have to quit when things calm down. Elsewhere, Aunt Hannah's voice rang out. Congratulations on becoming Korea's first L-rank hunter, Mr. Kong. Thanks to you, our country has maintained its position as a global power station. As such, I'm sure you'll receive numerous recruitment offers from overseas. So, I need to ask you this, Mr. Kong. Without waiting for Chairman Han Soon to finish, Sejun glanced at her with an annoyed tone. Are you asking if I'm going abroad? Chairman Han Soon smiled faintly and replied, That's right. If you are, I'd like to know now. As the chairman of the Korean Hunter Association, I have to persuade you not to leave. Se-jun said. As far as I know, one of our S-rank hunters is working abroad. Chairman Han Suin replied. But Eun Ji-hyun is an exception. Besides, he hasn't completely left Korea. He promised to prioritize Korea in emergency situations. Se-jun cut in. What if I want to do the same? Chairman Han Suin held up a finger and wagged it. Your case is a little different, Mr. Kong. We have several S-rank hunters, but only one L-rank hunter. She thought to herself, the Korean government is afraid that even I might accept a position overseas. That's why they treat me like royalty. Ultimately, a nation's power is determined by the number of S-rank hunters or awakened it possesses. That's why we can't let our first L-rank hunter work in another country. Continuing her thought, Chairman Han Suin said, we can't stop you from traveling abroad, but you must always prioritize Korea. Hearing this, Se-jun scoffed and said, is that so? His voice dropped. Then, if I refuse your offer and leave here, can anyone stop me? Hearing this, Yoon gripped the armrest of the sofa. The air in the room fell silent for a moment. Chairman Han Suin parted her lips slightly. Then she burst out laughing, unafraid. Probably not. Not if all of us jumped you. We might only manage to grab the hem of your pants, but that would be a bit embarrassing for us, wouldn't it? But you don't intend to go abroad, do you? Siun Faunil, looking annoyed. I really don't like you. You make me feel like I'm facing a legion of cunning snakes. People call you a tiger, but you seem more like a snake to me. Chairman Han Suin narrowed her eyes at him. That's strange. You seem to know a lot about me. Se-jun tapped the armrest of his chair. This is the first time I've met you, so I don't know where you've met me before. Chairman Han Suin said, you're the hunter representing this country. It would be strange if I didn't know who you were. She thought to herself, there are many ways I could have found out. Aloud, she asked, what's your next step? Will you join the association or create your own? Suin replied, and work independently. I'm not interested in dungeon raids, but I'm open to the idea of teaming up if you need me. Yoon thought in surprise. He's not planning on raiding dungeons? In this day and age, the easiest way to make money was through magic stones and items obtained from dungeon raids. She speculated, if he's not interested in that, then does he want to pursue labyrinth dungeons? There are 4 different types of dungeons. The most common type is the normal dungeon, which deploys quite frequently. There are also dungeon breaches, where monsters escape through gates to our world. There are also dungeon breaches, where spaces are completely transformed into dungeons. And lastly, there's the labyrinth, the least known of them all. Unlike other dungeons that appear randomly, labyrinth dungeons are only found in specific locations around the world, and their danger level is beyond description. They're the only dungeons known as living hells. Looking at Se-jun, Yoon wondered, is that what Kong Se-jun is after? Then she asked, why are you? A failed labyrinth dungeon raid could lead to the end of the world. No, the annihilation of this entire planet. It would truly become a living hell. Hearing this, Hannah thought, I see, there's an obvious danger to labyrinth dungeons, but why is he so angry? After thinking, she spoke up, someone would think you experienced the apocalypse yourself. As far as I know, only one person has participated in a labyrinth dungeon raid, and it wasn't you, yet you speak as if you've been through it. You went there secretly, didn't you? Since when did labyrinth dungeons become places you could sneak into on your own? I'm only saying this because it sounds like you experienced it firsthand. Se-jun rested his chin on his hand and said nonchalantly, consider it one of the effects of my contract and skills. Hannah exclaimed in exasperation, you truly are a mysterious man, Mr. S-rank hunter. On the other side of the sofa, Hanasio suddenly exclaimed, huh? Yoon turned her head and asked, what's wrong? He replied, oh, it's just, I feel like I'm hallucinating. Huh, am I suffering from snake venom poisoning? Hearing this, Yoon said, no way, you were perfectly fine when I checked you. Hanasio pointed at the screen and asked, then what is this? Isn't the total number of S-rank hunters 11? Even though Mr. Kong is an L-rank hunter, I received a message saying he logged into the S-rank hunter exclusive community because he transcends us. A notification appeared on the screen. Kong Se-jun has joined the community, S-rank hunter exclusive community, total members 13. Han SEO continued, so the total number of members should be 12, but it says there are 13 in total. Yoon was also surprised upon hearing this. What? No way. I practically live online. After opening the screen to check, her eyes suddenly widened. She turned and asked, since when did this happen? I didn't even get a notification. Is there a case where I wouldn't receive a notification when a new member joins? Han SEO covered his face and said, right? So what's going on? I'm pretty sure this isn't a system error. He stammered, do you think it's a ghost? It's hacked by a ghost. Hannah was a bit speechless. Don't be ridiculous, Hanisio. She then looked at the display screen. But if there's an extra member in this community, it can only mean we haven't accepted any new S-rank hunters recently. Someone forged a contract with a high-ranking entity and became an S-rank hunter. Another possibility is that someone was evaluated by the mana measurement after awakening, but no S-rank hunter has accessed it recently. Ewan added, that person must have accessed the contract with an incredibly powerful high-ranking entity, like you and I did, Chairman. I'm very curious about the identity of this hunter. S-rank. It would be good if they officially registered with the association. Hearing him say that, Hannah crossed her legs and replied, even though it would be illegal if they didn't. It makes things more difficult when it's an S-rank hunter. She turned to Sejun. I have to say, I'm quite curious about this newcomer. What should we do? She finished speaking and thought. He's either indifferent to this issue or acting aloof because he knows something. Having thought that, she asked, you're the first L-rank awakened in Korea. Do you have any hunches? Sejun replied, I don't have all the answers, but I can offer a guess. A mysterious S-rank hunter didn't trigger any community alerts, and the one who took down the rank 2 boss monster might be the same person. Yuan agreed, saying, right, I'm curious about that too. They said the boss was taken down by someone else, but no one saw who it was because they were inside the dungeon. We tried to leave right after the dungeon was destroyed, but it took longer than expected because there was a horde of monsters in front of us. By the time we got out, the situation was already under control. Here's a picture of the monster's corpse. Hannah curiously asked, they have a very distinct fighting style. Why would they cause such a commotion? They could have been more discreet. Mr. Khan, what did you see? Seun replied, a woman. I couldn't see her face because she was wearing a gas mask, and, judging by the weapon she used, her attribute seems to be sniper. Hannah said, that's rare. That could make finding her easier. Anything else? Sejun raised his head and looked over. From what you said, it's highly likely she signed a contract with a high-ranking entity. Not only was she wearing a regenerating coat, but her weapon was also far from ordinary. Just those two things alone would be hard to obtain without going through a high-ranking entity. Hannah pushed herself up with her hands. She must have been born with a silver spoon in her mouth. Let me know if you come across anyone who looks like that S-rank hunter. If they're the one who took down the rank 2 boss monster, we have to locate them. If they're the same person, the national ranking system will be turned upside down. I've already stepped down from the top spot. It's too much pressure for me, especially for these aging shoulders. Having said that, she gave a bright smile, then added, good luck, new number 1. Unwillingly shouldering the burden, Sejun could only sigh. Seeing that, Hannah left him with one last remark. You still have many healthy years ahead of you, and then left. After a while, Junaying also stood up. All right, I'll get the paperwork to brief you on the awakened. Sejun nodded. Okay. As he finished speaking, his eyes stopped for a few seconds, staring at Seora for a long time. Sejun asked, do you understand your subordinates well? Junaying looked up, startled. Why do you ask that so suddenly? Sejun turned around and said, I have the impression that they don't know their managing senior is an S-rank hunter. I wonder if the reverse is true. Junaying narrowed his eyes and asked, you mean someone here has been hiding their true rank? Like I did. Seun replied, Eustachius. If that's the case, the chairman must be suspicious, right? And if even she can't see through it, there's no way her high-ranking contracted entity wouldn't notice. Junayang furrowed his brow in thought. The chairman definitely hasn't mentioned anything, but at this point he said, we don't have much time, and I have to brief you, so we can discuss this later. Siyun nodded. Okay. In her room, Seora was looking at the screen. A message suddenly appeared in the chat from Eternal Penitence. Hello, new S-rank hunter. After a moment, another message arrived from Eternal Penitence. Are you a ghost? Seora exclaimed. Oh, they finally noticed. She thought to herself, I had a feeling they'd figure it out. When a notification about an L-rank hunter joining the community went out, it seems they think I'm a ghost because the number of members increased without any announcement of a newcomer. It seemed that Guild Leader Sunset was one of the people who put forward the ghost theory. If she remembered correctly, Yoon-hee was the vice leader of the Grim Reaper Guild. Just as that thought crossed her mind, the chat started buzzing. Lady Sunset sent a message. Seriously, what's going on here? Shouldn't we have 12 members if the L-rank hunter joined? Why is it 13? Is there really a ghost lurking here? Yoon-hee asked. Oh wow, it seems the new S-rank hunter has joined the family. Welcome, Lady Sunset. A bit curious typed. Why are you so calm? Yoon-hee replied, I'm not calm. I'm just welcoming the newcomer. Lady Sunset, sweating, said, that's not what I meant. After reading everything, Seora thought, considering how active everyone is in the community, it's surprising it took them this long to notice. Who is this person? Her eyes focused on a user with no profile picture and no name that everyone's forgotten. Seeing that way of speaking, Seora immediately recognized it. Team leader Sue Ian. Just as she finished that thought, the chat erupted in noise. Inji asked, why are you trying to pick a fight? You don't know anything either. Sue Ian replied, at least I don't practically live in the community like someone cough cough. Sue Un chimed in, there you go, fight. Where's the match gonna be? I'll bring the popcorn. Seeing this, Seora was speechless, thinking, weren't they just talking about me? Why are they arguing now? And the one who doesn't seem like the fighting type is joining in too. Guild leader Dune also commented, hello, new S-rank hunter. Are you the one who defeated the rank 2 boss monster recently? If so, I want to express my sincere gratitude. Thanks to you, we were able to avoid heavy losses. I would very much like to meet you in person. After reading Do-eun's message, Seora's eyes widened in surprise. Who would have thought the leader of Korea's #1 guild would be so gentle and polite? She thought to herself, I like gentle and sweet guys like guild leader Do-eun. But of course, perfect men like him are already taken and married. Such a shame. Just then, Seora saw the administrator send an angry emoticon. She asked what's wrong? What's all the commotion about this time? Seeing the administrator change emoticons, she asked nervously, wait, are you crying now? Even if I ask why, it won't answer. I'll never understand the administrator's mood swings. The next day, the guild statements stirred up Korea. Hannah took the podium and announced, we want to clarify that Mr. Kong Se-jun, the new L rank Awakened Hunter, played no role in defeating the rank 2 Dungeons monster. Furthermore, several updates suggest there is a new, mysterious S-rank hunter, and that is also what we have recently learned. Our current hypothesis is that this person is the one who defeated the boss. Just like that, the news of the 12th S-rank Awakened Hunter spread like wildfire online, causing further commotion among the citizens. The appearance of a new S-rank hunter who might be stronger than Song Hannah. Some speculated that this newcomer would surpass Song Hannah in strength. Accordingly, Song Hannah's loyal fan base, who prided themselves on her title as Korea's #1, became enraged. They buzzed with two conflicting opinions. How could the chairman defeat a monster in one shot? Haha, goodbye useless chairman. Rank L is out of the question, rank S still remains. No matter what, she's still Korea's #1 guardian. You should pray Song Hannah doesn't catch you, or you'll be begging for mercy. Any other dissenting opinions were wrong. This sparked an online feud. Seora held her phone and thought, Aunt Hannah probably doesn't even care about this. Suddenly, the administrator's expression appeared. She looked bewildered, Looking at the notification bar, a post just shared in the community, she felt uneasy, thinking, I've never received a notification for a new community post before. I have a bad feeling about this. Seeing the administrator fidgeting, she asked, did the administrator find something? The administrator immediately pulled up a screen, a video with the title, Monster Takes a Critical Hit from a Hunter. A new S-rank hunter lady found by B-rank hunter appeared. A blonde-haired girl wearing a mask called out, Mississippi. Seora, surprised, thought, what the heck is this? When she clicked on the video, the blonde girl immediately spoke. Hello, my ladies. After pausing for a moment, the blonde girl said, today I'll be talking about the recent incident in the Cian Forest. She pulled the comments aside, opened another video, and then exclaimed, oh my god, do you see this? A rank 2 monster's head exploded with just one shot. Using the word critical hit to describe this attack is an understatement. So I've decided to call this mysterious S-rank hunter Headshot from now on. I'll take the liberty of calling you that, Miss Headshot. Hearing this, Seora vehemently objected. Oh my god, who are you to decide these things? No way, don't call me that. Then she thought, how on earth did she give me such a weird nickname? And why don't people find it cheesy? Imagining a group of people holding headshot signs and chanting. Miss Headshot, I'm really looking forward to your amazing raids. I'm your biggest fan, Headshot. Seora flustered, saying, no, please stop it. Inwardly, she screamed, I thought Korean friends were especially good at nicknames. How did I get stuck with Headshot? I'll never reveal my identity. The next day, Seora walked down the street with a gloomy expression, muttering, that's right, I have to submit my resignation. Being a secret hero while working as a public official won't work anyway. I need to quit before the news reaches the office. While she was looking down, Se-jun slowly approached. He said, "A secret hero with a government job. I've never heard of that before." Seora, startled, exclaimed, "Oh my god!" Sejun said again, "I knew you'd come here." She stammered, "L-rank hunter." Hearing this, he corrected her, "It's Kong Sejun. Don't address others by their rank." Meanwhile, Seora thought, "He's so handsome that I'm a bit overwhelmed seeing him up close." But she asked, puzzled, "Why are you so unprofessional? This is our first time meeting." Sejun asked, "You're talking to me casually." Seora closed her eyes. "Okay, fine." After a few seconds, Sejun spoke. "About what you were saying, you mean you're a public official with secret abilities. So you're the one who defeated the boss." Seora thought, petrified. "This is why I hate clever people. I thought he'd figure out my identity during our first encounter. But based on what he just said, it seems he wasn't entirely sure. Well then, I'll play dumb." Having decided, she shrugged and asked, "What are you talking about?" Sejun said, "You're really going to play dumb when I just caught you red-handed." Seora replied calmly, "I was near the gate that day, but I wasn't there. With my low rank, I could hardly withstand the mana emitted from a rank 2 gate. There are plenty of witnesses." Seeing her persistent denial, Sejun stated bluntly, "The regeneration cloak's invisibility effect doesn't work on me because I'm an L-rank hunter. In other words, I could see a masked girl defeating the monster." Seora still tried to argue. "If that girl's face was covered by a mask, how can you be so sure it was me?" Sejun said, "What's the point of covering your face when I can recognize you by your figure?" His words made Seora freeze. She thought, "It seems I can't fool an L-rank hunter." Sejun continued, "Moreover, you're the only one emitting an energy that even I can't identify. You're clearly strong enough to defeat a boss monster. But there's something I can't clearly perceive about your power. It means you're being protected by a high-ranking entity, similar to Song Hana's, an entity known to be excessively conservative." Hearing this, Seora's thoughts shifted. The invisibility shield definitely still works on L-rank hunters. Meanwhile, Sejun was still talking. "Therefore, Hana, Yoon, and I couldn't clearly identify you. Your high-ranking entity seems far more conservative than hers." He leaned closer to her. "So, it's you, isn't it, the mysterious S-rank hunter?" Seora inwardly asked, "What do I do, administrator?" Seeing the administrator send an emoticon, she wondered, "Is it telling me to just do what I want?" Seora sighed, Really? Why are you the first one to figure out my identity? Since you're an L-rank hunter, playing dumb is pointless now." Sejun chuckled. "That I have to admit, your acting was impressive. If you kept it up, you might have fooled me." Seora smiled back. "Really? If that were the case, you wouldn't have approached me in the first place." Hearing her question, Sejun became thoughtful. "She's acting calm, but I have to admit, this girl isn't an ordinary F-rank public official. She's a very powerful hunter who single-handedly defeated a rank 2 dungeon boss." At this point, Sora suddenly spoke. "Thinking about it, I find it quite strange. No one in the association would give out my home address. How did you find it, you L-rank stalker?" Sejun's face flushed slightly, and he quickly stepped back, saying, "It's not like you think." Seeing this, Seora covered her mouth, laughing to herself. Even though he's traveled through time so much, he still gets embarrassed? What an interesting reaction. Then Seora said, "I apologize for suddenly appearing and asking about your rank. I didn't mean you any harm." Seora thought, if he were truly a bad person, the administrator would have intervened. He earnestly said, "I just wanted to talk to you." But Seora put on an annoyed expression, furrowing her brows and asking, "Do you really think saying that will make me believe you? I haven't told anyone about your true identity. If you want to keep it a secret, I won't reveal it to them." These words made Cora a little curious. "What are you trying to tell me? Tell me. I can't reveal too much. I may be an S-rank hunter, but I'm still a low-ranking official in the association," Sejun said. "That doesn't matter. I just want to know one thing about you." Cora, even more suspicious, asked about me. "What is it?" Sejun said, "First, as a time traveler, I've lived countless lives that no one else remembers." Cora was startled, thinking, he's telling me that so calmly. Right now, I should play dumb. Taking the opportunity, she asked, "What? A time traveler?" Then she thought, "I already knew, but I didn't anticipate him telling me himself. It will make my acting more natural." Sejun said without a trace of doubt, "Believe it or not, it's up to you." Cora glanced at him. "What? It's like you're a character from a science fiction novel." Sejun asked, "So, are you going to call me a fraudulent S-rank hunter now?" Cora feigned surprise, saying, "Whoa, you can read minds too." Hearing that, several blue veins immediately popped up on Sejun's face. Seeing him about to explode, she quickly said, "Anyway, I never thought time travel was possible. By the way, can you tell me about these things? In books, characters don't go around revealing that they're time travelers. Sejun said patiently, I don't know where you got that information, but real life isn't like a story. Cora asked further, so, can you reveal this information to just anyone? Inwardly, she thought, this doesn't make sense. Outwardly, she asked, then why are you telling me? Will something bad happen to me? Sejun replied, if so, I wouldn't have told you in the first place, and you're right. I can't share this information with others. I've traveled for a single purpose. Any action different from my past will change the future, and I don't intend to risk that. Cora, her playful demeanor gone, asked curiously, then why risk telling me? Did you tell me about something in the past? Sejun shook his head, and oh, never. She asked again, then why? Tell me. I've never experienced anything unusual like you're talking about. Sejun frowned. Really? I've lived countless lives, but outside of this timeline. I've never encountered you. I'm only sharing this with you because this is the first time we've met. The future has changed because someone who never existed before has appeared. That's why I think it'll be okay if you know my secret. So, he grabbed her hand, asking loudly, why do you exist in this life? Are you sure you haven't experienced anything strange? Who is your higher being? Who are you? Cora glanced to the side. The chat window now only displayed 3 ellipses, confusing her. The administrator wasn't responding. Then she shook off his hand and replied, how would I know? Like I said, I don't know anything. After saying that, Cora thought, I don't know what lost timeline he's talking about, because before signing the contract with the administrator, I was just an ordinary low-level awaken. If this is the first time I've signed a contract with the administrator, why is it being merciful to me this time? Seeing the administrator send a smiley face, she continued to think, I'm not sure if it's because it chose not to share or simply because there's no reason. But again, it would be pretty hard to explain everything with emojis. The thought that I'm even alive right now is a miracle. It just feels weird. Cora abruptly left Sejun and continued walking. He called out in surprise, hey, wait. She replied, I have to go to work. A few days later, in front of the C-Rank gate near the Sangam-dong broadcasting station, Cora said with a sullen face, I'm having the worst luck. Why do I always lose at rock, paper, scissors when we're choosing who goes scouting? Sejun, walking behind her, asked, you decided that with the game? Cora turned her head to look at him and thought, and as if things weren't bad enough, I have to run into the male lead of the novel again. I know I have to assess the strength of an L-rank awakened hunter, but I really don't want to see him. After reaching her side, Sejun said, by the way, is this really that important? There are quite a few reporters here. Cora glanced at the reporters and thought, it seems everyone knows that Kong Sejun is an L-rank awakened hunter. There are a lot of bastards out there who want to sabotage the association that Aunt Hannah runs. Even if the smallest problem occurs, they'll try to blame the association. Suddenly, Yoon E-ang's voice rang out. If you're uncomfortable, do whatever makes you feel more at ease. No one would dare complain to an L-rank hunter, he said. Cora softly called out, Mr. Du, over here. Soo-yun raised his hand and said, I was just about to do that. After saying that, he snapped his fingers. Someone's camera immediately exploded. The person wailed, oh no, my camera. Damn it, I just bought it last week. Good job. Cora thought to herself, good job. That was satisfying to watch. As soon as she finished that thought, Yoon E-ong walked over and said, only Mr. Kong and I are allowed inside. So please wait here, Ms. Yoon. Sejun suddenly spoke up. Wait a minute. Actually, I think it would be better if I went with her instead of with you, Manager Nim. Cora gasped in surprise. But before she could say anything, Yoon E-ong said in a low voice, it's too dangerous for Ms. Yoon there. Sejun also wouldn't back down, asking, do you really think the monsters in a C-rank gate would dare attack us once we go inside? Cora, sandwiched between them like a filling in a cake, screamed internally, hold on, it won't make a difference since I'm an S-rank hunter too. Why does he want to bring me along and make up such lame excuses? I don't want to go in there. At that moment, the administrator suddenly sent an emoticon. Cora wondered, you're saying I need to go inside? The administrator sent another emoticon. She wondered, why does it look so excited? No way. Is there some good item inside? Seeing the administrator send an affirmative emoticon, Cora resolutely turned around and said, it's okay, Mr. Du, I'll go in. Yoon E-ong asked in surprise. What? He said considerately, you don't have to force yourself. It's no problem for me to assess Mr. Kang's abilities. But Cora replied, Mr. Du, I'm a hunter too. I'm always prepared to face danger. Besides, it's not like we're going into a B-rank gate like last time. Saying this, she turned to look at Se-jun's sour expression and thought, since I have an L-rank hunter with me, I think I'll be fine. This should convince Mr. Du. Sure enough, Yoon Eong said, please take good care of her, Mr. Kong. Se-yoon replied, you know. The two headed towards the gate. Cora turned around and said, see you later. Third floor dungeon, Magic Stone Cave. Cora held a blue stone in her hand and laughed loudly. Mwahaha, that's what I'm talking about. Look at all these sparkling magic stones. The administrator sent a cheering emoticon. Cora continued, not to mention, there's a ton of them. Since they're in a third floor dungeon, I bet they're worth a fortune. So glad I decided to come in here. This is amazing. Seeing her frantically digging up magic stones. Se-jun sighed helplessly. Such unnecessary theatrics. He thought to himself, I thought she'd show off some real skills when no one was around. The last thing I expected was this frantic digging. Her stamina isn't bad, I'll give her that, but she's unbalanced. I still can't sense CEO Ra's energy clearly. Se-jun stroked his chin, recalling the notice board. Korea's top secret S-rank hunter community. Total members, 13. He pondered. Come to think of it, there wasn't any announcement about her joining the S-rank hunter community. Is that also because of her high-ranking contractor's ability? If she really did make a contract with such a powerful entity, there's a chance CORA will rise to L rank. Her hunter skills were proven when she easily took down that second floor boss in a single hit. She'll be a valuable asset in my plan to kill that damn monster in the labyrinth dungeon. Se-jun made up his mind. This time, I swear I'll kill that damn monster. His thoughts were interrupted by CO Ra's sudden laughter. Huh, she wiped the sweat from her forehead. Manual labor isn't so bad, especially when you're digging up gold. I can't believe all these pretty little piles of gold are mine. Seonis face darkened. I can't believe I have to humor this capitalist. CORA continued. Hey, Mr. Kong, you have a lot of money, right? Se-jun asked warily, what? Are you planning to rob me? CORA replied, hey, of course not. I just wanted to ask if I can take all these magic stones. Se-jun said helplessly, why are you even asking when you're going to take them all anyway? Yoon seemed pretty worried about you. But you come in here and put on this act. CORA, shouldering a bag of magic stones, replied nonchalantly, by that logic, you're acting like an A-rank hunter, just like me. By the way, why didn't you fight any monsters while I was slaving away back there? Mr. Time Traveler, if you have too much free time, people will doubt your abilities. Se-jun feigned surprised at so you do remember the real reason we came in here was to assess my strength? You scared all the monsters away with all that noise. CORA, breathing heavily, said, speaking of which, what monsters are we supposed to be clearing out in here? I was too busy harvesting magic stones to notice. Se-jun shook his head in a wonder. You wouldn't be so calm if you saw them. You know what kind of monsters live in magic stone caves, right? CORA nodded. Yeah, the ones that eat magic stones to survive. They usually have minerals protruding from their bodies, right? Se-jun replied, that's right. She asked, and those are more expensive than regular magic stones, right? He nodded. Exactly. Ra's eyes widened. She threw the bag filled with magic stones into her item storage and then switched it for her X-grade gun. Holding the gun, she excitedly said, so what are we waiting for? If you're not going, I'll take all those monsters for myself. Seeing this, Se-jun sighed inwardly. This seems like a bad idea. As they continued deeper into the cave, CORA asked, now that I think about it, you're a fire mage, right? Don't use fire on them later. I want the stones intact. Se-jun replied, I can control the intensity of my flames. Besides, I have other powers I can use if fire isn't suitable. CORA looked surprised. You can use other attributes besides fire? I thought the law was that a person could only use one. Se-jun said, my journey has been long. It's given me plenty of time to hone my skills. After he demonstrated, she said, sounds like you've done this a few times. Who's your superior being? Se-jun didn't hide it. He answered directly, the hourglass. It controls fate and time. Thanks to it and the contractor, I can travel through time. CORA thought, I guess hourglass isn't just a nickname. Then she asked, are you a traveler because of your superior being's ability? Or is there another reason? Se-jun was silent for a few seconds at her question. Then he said, initially, it was because I wanted to return. I died before achieving my goal. CORA looked a little surprised. I'm sorry. She also thought, I see. Se-jun could only return after he died. If Kong Se-jun has returned 5 times, that means he's died 5 times. No wonder he's so twisted. I should be understanding of his temper. While she was lost in thought, Se-jun suddenly said, there are monsters ahead. CORA looked at the monsters right in front of them. Huh, aren't those diamond rhinos? Their horns are really valuable. They're used to make recovery potions for high-ranking hunters. Sejun turned to her and said, "You take half. I want to see what you're capable of." Cora immediately glanced at him and asked, "You want half the horn?" Sejun said seriously, "Relax. You can have the whole thing." She then withdrew her murderous glare. Fine. She thought, there are too many to handle, and I don't want the horns damaged. Then she said, "Fire, transform." After her rifle transformed into 2 pistols, she thought this will do. Suddenly, Sejun's voice rang in her ears. "Your weapon can transform. How did you get such a rare weapon when you just became an S-rank hunter?" Cora started sweating under her arms. "Shoot, I forgot transforming weapons are rare." She stammered, "Oh, it's just there's this god who's, very attentive to me." She thought, it's not a superior being. Because its abilities are on par with a god, I call it God. Seeing the administrator's expression, Cora continued to think, I should have hidden the fact that it can transform into other weapons during combat, but it's too late. So, to avoid the subject, she proactively charged forward that I'll go first. Sejun grabbed her hand and pulled her back. "Wait, I have a proposition. As someone who knows your secret, it's something only I can do." Cora asked the proposition. He continued, "We'll sell all the magic stones in the shop, right? Since you're hiding your rank, you can't trade openly. My suggestion is that you give those stones to me. I'll represent you, negotiate with the association, and sell them for you." "Really? You know the item shop takes a transaction fee, right? But if I directly exchange these magic stones with the association, you'll receive the full sale price." "So what do you mean?" "Yes, I'll help you. In return, could I ask you a favor?" "What is it?" "You see, I'm just a poor low-ranking official." He smirked. "I don't need money, but later, whenever I ask for your help, I hope you'll consider it, even if you decide to refuse." Cora looked surprised. Why would an L-rank hunter ask someone like me for help? He calmly replied, "Because even I can't handle everything alone." She thought, he looked a little sad and a bit angry too. Is he thinking about what happened before he returned? She asked, "You're not going to ask me to do anything weird, are you?" As they talked, the monster detected their presence. It approached her from behind, but she seemed oblivious, focused on her conversation with him. "Of course not. You have a right to refuse, so don't overthink it." When she agreed, "All right," was also when a monster attacked her. Seeing her acceptance, he said, "Good." Then a red light appeared in his hand. He attacked the monster behind her and said, "It's decided then." She looked back in surprise, then smiled and said, "Oh, not bad. Now it's my turn. Magnetic field control." A notification popped up, "Zone setting complete. Activating temporary control function for the designated area. Firing command will respond with magnetic field expansion skill, increasing accuracy. Bullets from the shot will transform as needed. One shot, one kill." He looked at her thoughtfully. She's really crazy. I can't believe she's guiding the bullets by marking the area with a sphere. Is she some kind of unique ability user? Awakened are classified by combat type. Magic, healing, and unique abilities. Unique abilities are very rare and possess more specialized power than others. Only a few combat types can manipulate space. Watching her happily holding the monster's horn, wow, it's sparkling inside. He thought, Yoon's aura is definitely essential for the missions ahead. He clenched his fist, showing his determination. I definitely have to persuade her to join me, no matter the cost. After the dungeon raid ended, Sejun and Cora agreed to meet near her house once he finished exchanging with the Defense Association. It feels like I keep running into him unconsciously, but I want to receive the money personally. After all, Aunt Hannah is managing my bank account now. She recalled Sejun's words. Are you sure you want Chairman Song to know you earn a bunch of money from some mysterious source? He seems to have earned quite a bit from them. He's quite resourceful. Since the Defense Association has the largest number of healers and mages in the country, they need more potions than anyone. So they had no choice but to buy rare materials like horned or no matter how expensive. Suyun handed over the fee, hopping mad. That damn bastard. I hope he trips and breaks his nose on the way back. She grinned at the thought. I'm not in a hurry to buy new equipment, so I'll save the money for later. Suddenly, the system appeared with a smiling face. Indeed, thanks to the equipment and weapons you gave me, Administrator. Cora thought to herself, feeling a bit curious. According to Sejun, it seems I couldn't form a contract with the administrator in any other timeline he visited. I wonder who the administrator was dealing with back then. Suddenly, the streetlights went out. She quickly turned around to look. With a puzzled expression, Cora saw a figure jump down from above, landing in the pool of darkness where the streetlight had been. Her eyes widened in surprise at the sudden attack. Cora quickly dodged the blow. Recognizing the person before her, she asked suspiciously, Aren't you supposed to be under surveillance? Did you take them off? Why would you do something so reckless? Park Junyong. He only gritted his teeth in anger. Then he shouted as he attacked, "Shut up!" He lunged at her, and she quickly backed away to dodge. He clenched his fists in frustration. "What kind of magic did you use? What are you talking about? You've just gotten slower since the day you pushed me into the dungeon. You haven't trained at all since you were kicked out of the association, have you?" He raged that I wouldn't have to deal with any of this if it weren't for you. "Don't blame me. You're the one who committed the crime. No, it's all your fault. None of this would have happened if you had died in the dungeon. This time, I'll make sure you die. I'll drag you down to hell with me." Cora calmly opened her system and selected a weapon. "You're the one in trouble here. Too bad you can't see that." She aimed her sniper rifle, frowning as she thought, "I'm the one who's been yearning for revenge. I won't let you escape this time." A system message suddenly appeared. Administrator temporarily granting protection to the contractor. Activating Guardian, it continued, surprising her. More system messages popped up that enemy's attack will be temporarily nullified and returned with triple the force. As his fist reached her, a barrier materialized. He was thrown back by the dark barrier. Her eyes widened in astonishment. She stammered, Wait a minute." Looking at the unconscious man, she tilted her head in confusion. What the hell just happened? The system window flashed red. That administrator's rage is shaking the system. She looked at the system window and whispered, Administrator isn't normal. It's so angry that it's affecting the entire system." The system window displayed another message. Guardian deactivated. Cora, worried, tried to soothe the system. "Administrator, I'm okay, so please calm down." Looking at the crimson red of the system window, she thought, it really looks furious. This is the first time I've seen a black screen on the system window. I should calm it down first. Thinking so, she hugged the system window. "Administrator, Terry, thank you for getting angry for me. You're so kind and sweet, so please calm down." She didn't notice someone's foot appear behind her, followed by a voice. "What are you doing?" The sudden voice startled her. "Oh my God. Can you make some noise when you walk?" You didn't even answer me and just held your forehead, asking Sora, "What trouble did you cause this time? More importantly, who are you calling Terry when there's no one around?" His question hit Sora like a bolt of lightning. She thought, he must have heard me coaxing the administrator. She stammered, "It's my God. Is that another name for your high-ranking entity?" "No, not really. I like to call it." She closed her eyes and shouted, "Miss Teresa, or Terry for short. Have you calmed down, Administrator?" "Sorry, I can't call you Administrator. This is just a small negotiation." Sejuan looked at her, puzzled. Is she out of her mind? Sora asked him, "By the way, what are you doing here, traveler? This isn't our meeting place." He glanced at her and replied, "With you causing such a commotion, how could I not come? And why is that guy lying there half dead?" She said nonchalantly, "I didn't do it." "Well, whatever. He's the one who threw himself into the dungeon. He deserves worse." Sejuan wondered, "Why did that guy come looking for you?" "He said he became a criminal because of me." "One idiot. He's the one who attacked me first. But thanks to that, I had the opportunity to make a contract with a high-ranking entity." Sejuan disagreed, retorting, "Those are two different issues. Are you planning to get rid of him?" She said, "He already paid the price for throwing me into the dungeon. Plus, he was kicked out of the Blue Wolf Guild and punished. But the reason I want to kill him now has nothing to do with that. He should also pay a reasonable price for what he did this time, right?" Seeing her raise the gun, he asked, "So you have to kill him?" She aimed directly at the target and said, "He's a pathetic fool. I can't believe he keeps blaming me instead of admitting his own mistakes. Just because he's an A-rank hunter and I'm only an F-rank hunter. So I have to let him realize his mistake himself." After finishing, she lifted the gun high. Sejuan looked at her curiously. "You didn't turn him into gold." Sora glanced at him and asked, "What? Are you disappointed?" "No, just a little surprised." While putting the gun away in her inventory, she thought, why can't he just let it go? She dusted off her hands and told him, "I'm different from that bastard. I don't turn people into gold for personal grudges. Besides, there's a witness here." Seeing this, he also spoke up. "Sorry." Sora approached him, and Sejuan leaned back to avoid her, only hearing her say, "I'm just kidding. But since you're already here, you have to help me. What just happened was self-defense, got it?" Sejuan closed his eyes in resignation. "Whatever you say." Sora rested her chin on her hand and sighed. "To be honest, I'm not that angry, but my beloved Terry was furious on my behalf." She asked the system administrator, "From now on, I'll call you Terry when I'm with other people. That way, we can avoid trouble if someone happens to." "Here, there's no other way. This is the only option. It could only helplessly accept." Sora smiled brightly. The administrator had returned to its normal state. This was much better than when it was angry. Terry reminded her, looking in the direction it pointed, and she let out a surprised, Seora looked in the direction Terry indicated and said to him, "Someone's coming this way. Your detection skills are amazing. I didn't know until Terry told me. Judging by the fact we can only sense them when they're close, they're most likely S-rank hunters. Right? It looks like it's Han Soo-yun and Du Junyong. You won't be able to escape even if you run now." Seora's face fell as she exclaimed, "Why does it have to be Mr. Du? He's so fast." She called to Sejun, "Hey, Mr. Magician, help me. What do you want to do now?" She grabbed his clothes with a wide smile. "Shoot Junyong. Mr. L-rank magician, I'm just a weak F-rank official you saved, so please help me." What? Are you out of your mind?" Before they could finish their discussion, Du Junyong arrived and called out, "Ms. Yoon." Seora quickly ran towards him. Mr. Du, he asked with concern, "Are you all right?" Seora, with tears welling up in her eyes, weakly replied, "I am okay. Mr. Kong saved me. Thank you so much." Sejun, stiff from using his hardening spray, replied, "Glad I could help." Soo-yun also arrived at the scene, panting as she said, "I'm so sorry you had to go through this. We should have kept a closer eye on him from the beginning. He caused trouble again, so this time we can definitely put him in jail." Junyong patted the crying Seora's shoulder comfortingly. "I was so scared." He then asked, "Did you shoot him in the knee, Mr. Kong?" Sejun replied matter-of-factly, "Yeah, I saw no reason to be merciful to him for threatening your life." Junyong agreed that you're absolutely right. He won't be able to run with a shattered knee. Soo-yun didn't say anything, just pushed up her glasses observantly. Then she asked, "Excuse me, but aren't you a fire magician, Mr. Kong?" Sejun nodded in confirmation that that's right. "Why do you ask?" She voiced her doubts. "There's something strange about this wound. Looking at it, it looks like a wound caused by a mana bullet. Do you also use a gun, Mr. Kong?" Soo-yun looked surprised as if she saw something. Junyong stepped forward and asked, "Mr. Kong, did you use that to shoot Park Jin-ring?" "Oh, right." Then Sejun held up a crossbow for them to see. I used this on him. Seeing it, a big question mark appeared above Junyong's head. The scene fell into an awkward silence. Jin-ring stiffly repeated, "I see a slingshot." Seora, hiding behind Jin-ring with sweat pouring down her face, muttered, "You don't need mana to activate a slingshot, do you?" "I'm sorry for embarrassing you like this, traveler." Sejun, now fuming, thought to himself, "Yoon Seora, this crazy girl." Terry could only roll his eyes and chuckle. Thank you for watching today's video. Our story continues with many exciting developments ahead, so don't forget to like and subscribe to support us and not miss the latest episodes. We wish you relaxing and enjoyable moments. See you in the next video. Thank you for watching.